Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Seneca. Is kicking your enemy into a large well after screaming, "This is Sparta," the Hellenistic embodiment of courage? Well, it could be, looking at the Greek mythological heroes like Achilles and Hector and their bravery on the battlefield. But the definition of courage doesn't stop there, as far as the Stoics are concerned. As a matter of fact, there are many different philosophical ideas about what courage really is. This video is a short essay about how different philosophies define the virtue of courage. Now, if we want to be courageous, according to Stoic ethics, does that mean that we have to become these fearless warlords as we see in movies about the ancient Greeks? Or do we have to become the hero that saves the princess? Not necessarily. Courage is a Stoic virtue. This means that courage is part of what the Stoics call eudaimonia, which means flourishing, and is regarded as the end goal. It's important to notice that according to the Stoics, eudaimonia equals life in accordance with nature, which is regarded as an optimal way for human beings to live. When we look at the Stoic definition of courage, we discover that it's subdivided into endurance, confidence, high-mindedness, cheerfulness, and industriousness. We can apply these characteristics in all kinds of situations. We could be very courageous doctors or very courageous YouTube content creators. As long as we do it confidently, with positive energy, and in a way that's disciplined. This is the key to success. We can cultivate Stoic courage by controlled adversity, also known as ascesis, through which we gradually expose ourselves to dispreferred indifference. In this way, we become more confident, strong, and skilled. Ethically, courage ought to be directed toward pursuits that are in favor of the common good, preferably things that are conformable to our own inborn nature and the nature of our environment. Thus, the Stoic hero is a virtuous hero. Now, Nietzsche was a German philosopher who valued courage very highly. According to him, courage is the main ingredient to become what he called the overman or Übermensch. The overman is an individualist who has succeeded to free himself from the master-slave morality and lives self-sufficiently while following his own unique path. God is dead, declared Nietzsche, meaning that we have arrived in a secular age in which God can no longer provide us with answers. In a similar way, Albert Camus saw institutionalized religions as a form of philosophical suicide, and submitting to them would mean that we refuse to see reality for what it truly is, meaningless and absurd. Nietzsche, as well as Camus, thought that the right way to live as human beings is to create our own values and live by them, instead of adopting values of certain belief systems and ideologies, which, in the end, only exploit us and rob us of our intellectual conscience. When we decide to set ourselves free from the herd mentality and truly forge our own path, we need an immense amount of courage, because we have to break the chains of fear and convention. And by doing so, we are likely to encounter resistance from our environment. Simply put, courage is to become who we are. The Buddha had a slightly different view of courage. There's this common misunderstanding that Buddhist monks are a bunch of cowards that hide in their monasteries while renouncing life. The renunciation of life is partly true in Buddhism, as it is the renunciation of certain parts of life, also known as samsara. Samsara is the wheel of suffering and involves all cravings and desires and pleasures that lead to suffering. By taking refuge in Buddhism, we seek to emerge from samsara by giving up a great deal that conventionally makes life pleasurable. For the regular person, giving up so many things means a great deal of pain and suffering. And this is the irony. One has to go through the pain of giving up short-term pleasure and devoting oneself to a life of practice and discipline to become free of pain. Thus, embarking on the path of enlightenment is a very brave thing to do. Part of the path of enlightenment is overcoming our fears, because a truly enlightened being has no fear. And in order to overcome fear, we have to face it. This is especially true for the fear of death. When the Buddha experienced the harsh reality of life, he chose not to be sheltered from it, but to acknowledge suffering and accept it. Thus, in Buddhism, courage means that we dare to see reality for what it is and transform our fear and suffering into a path to awakening. Philosopher Alan Watts, who was a scholar of Zen, spoke about a metaphysical courage, which is basically the awareness that all manifestations of existence are a show. So we approach life how we approach a movie. This means that on the one hand, we get tangled up in life and experience fear because everything that happens appears real to us. But on the other hand, we can see the illusion for what it is. Then life is no more frightening than playing a video game. According to Watts, this is what the samurai were after when they were studying Zen. They wanted this metaphysical courage so nothing would scare them. This is easier said than done, and when we put this idea into practice, we discover that our bodies still react to the things we perceive as scary. We still feel fear. Now, the key to dealing with this fear is not fearing fear and seeing these sensations as a part of the illusion. The opposite is the act of worrying, which is a vicious cycle that is absolutely useless. The cause of worrying is the illusion that we believe that by thinking we can control the future, which isn't the case. Thus, in this context, courage is the ability to simply letting the show play out as it plays out. The last form of courage I would like to explore is a nice add-on to the previous one. The founder of Stoicism, Zeno of Citium, once had a teacher called Crates of Thebes, who was the most well-known cynic at that time. Crates saw that Zeno had difficulties putting aside his shame, so he let his pupil walk around with a pot of lentil soup. Lentils as a dish were looked down upon, because it was seen as food for peasants. Because he saw Zeno struggling and ashamed doing this assignment, Crates broke the pot with his staff, and Zeno ran away in embarrassment, with the lentil soup flowing down his legs. "Why run away, my little Phoenician? Nothing terrible has befallen you," Crates said. He wanted to teach Zeno the art of shamelessness and the freedom that comes with that. This freedom is very well portrayed by Crates' teacher, Diogenes of Sinope, who lived in a barrel. Alexander the Great was very interested in Diogenes and traveled a long way to meet him. He asked Diogenes what he could do for him, because with his wealth and power, he could get him anything that the empire had to offer. Diogenes looked at him and answered, "Can you please step aside, because you're blocking my son?" Diogenes' lifestyle granted him the possibility to be independent. He didn't need the approval of other people, nor the help of the most powerful man on earth. But it took him great courage to live such a radical life. According to the Cynics, real courage means that we simply don't give a damn about external things, including what people think and say about us, and don't let them stop us from living how we want to live. A courageous cynic is shameless. All in all, the human experience is full of fear, which can block us from living even the most ordinary of lives. That's why it's important to cultivate courage, so we can live more happily and freely, or at least so we can cope with the predicament of being involuntarily thrown into this world. As Albert Camus stated, sometimes it takes more courage to live than to shoot yourself. Thank you for watching.
Are you crying? Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying. There's no crying in foosball.
You fucking cried after 3 days in the fucking holding tank. Looked like a fucking pile of wet rags at court. You should see how I showed up to court after 3 days in the box with the light on.
Please, is there anything I can do, sir? Please.
Does he look like a bitch? What?
Don't do this to my wife, man. You don't know what you're doing to my family, man.
Does he look like
Disgusting.
Sir, please don't make me sleep in jail tonight, sir, please. I'm begging.
We're not criminals.
They're gonna make me sleep in jail.
Continue. You were saying something about best intentions?
Josh has never been arrested for recording.
Okay, so that's him getting arrested, and then his friend here makes a phone call that I want to touch on.
Thank you. It is going to be great content. I'm putting you on record. I didn't come in this to be a Greco-Roman wrestler. That's one thing you brought up. I didn't come in this for the numbers and the money. You brought that up. I didn't come in this to do sit-ups and pull-ups and dips. I came into this for rights, freedom, principles, and spiritual faith. And I'm doing that and getting results. You say you're in this for that, and you're not. You got horrible results, and you're a cop. There's nothing before or after that. You're not a law scholar. You're not a legal scholar. You're a fucking coward and an embarrassment. You're grifting, selling fake products that don't work, because if they work, you'd use them at your court case, and you didn't because they don't. And that's all I'm talking about. Whether you're in better shape than me, can beat me up, have more money and numbers, has nothing to do with credibility and true power and value. So now that you understand the difference, little boy, I'm going to let you go. Daddy loves you. Daddy loves him. Okay? See how they are? Mr. Man of the people who's so loving and caring. Soon as you get him in private, I got more money than you. I got more numbers. I'm a wrestler. I'll beat you up. Then it's, I love you. I'm your friend. I'll give you a hug on the street. How about just sticking on how you call yourself a law scholar, sell products that don't work, present an image that's not authentically you to your audience, so you can get more money and numbers and hold it over other people's head, and then try to lean into how you gave me a platform. You, Brian and David, claim to be patriots, claim to be lawful, upholding the law, claim to be about rights and freedoms. By bringing me on, you gave your audience what you can't give them with all three of you in the room. You didn't do a favor for me. You did your audience a favor. You finally gave them access to look at and listen to a man who honors himself and the land and the truth and walks the shit he talks, unlike all three of you. See how that works? How about you come on panel and stop being a bitch?
I'm not your content, bro.
You are the content. What do you mean you're not the content? You're the content right now.
Great, because you called me up and ambushed me like a punk.
I called you 3 or 4 times so far, and the last time we talked, you, like Brian, make plans and don't stand on it.
You call yourself the white gorilla. You should call yourself the white chumpzilla.
I'm not a chump. That's you. You cried at court and bitched up. I got another dismissal 3 months ago with gun charges, and now I'm suing him with a handwritten claim. You ain't no legal lawful scholar. You're a fraud and a bitch. And I'll meet up with you and tell you to your face you're a fraud and a bitch. I ain't the chump. That's you. Why don't you go beg your audience to buy another 1,000 trifolds so you can waste another 200,000, ask another man to talk for you at court, law scholar.
Do the math on 200 trifolds, bro. Yeah, playboy, do the math on 200 trifolds. Do it. I got an idea, Paul. Make a trifold selling the idea not to use a driver's license.
I got an idea. Stop being a bitch and destroying your legacy with all the real ones when you could have been a leader and an asset, but you cocked the fuck up. You're not a leader. You're the blind leading the blind. You're the coward leading the cowards.
Why is it, do you think, that I have the following that I have?
I already answered that. Why is it? Let me put it to you like this, decastrated. You're not going to tell me the reason. You're imposing your own reason. Why does Bill Gates have more of a following than me? Why does Donnie Trump have more of a following than me? Why does Anthony Fauci have more of a following than me? For the same reason you do. Dummy.
Following anymore, Paul, because you beat people up and you're horrible person.
No, it's because I call you beta males out and hold you accountable and responsible, and you run from that everywhere in your life. And I get to play the bad guy. I get to play the bad guy, but stand on truth and what's right. I love it.
You want to run a mile?
I love it.
If you want to do pull-ups, I can dominate.
Pull-ups? Wait a second. Now you're going to pull-ups? First you went to money. Now you're going to pull-ups. How about doing what we both said that we do? How about, now here you go. Now you want to make physical threats about you being a wrestler. How about we stick to, hey, insecure bitch ass motherfucker, I know you could hold me down, just like you were crying at court, right? How about decastrated, right? It's great content. Show who and what you really are. I love it. Now you're threatening me with physical harm. So how about we stand on... I know you could dominate me, but guess what? Any challenge I name, how about go to court and not submit all your rights and cuck up and cry and be a bitch? Oops.
I'm gonna get 7 figures for what they did to me.
7 figures. And you're gonna hire another man to do it for you, law scholar. Any competition you want. You already lost the main competition. Standing on rights and freedom and litigating in court. You failed beyond belief. You didn't dominate me or anyone else. You got dominated and slaved the fuck up, and you cucked up and cried. And you called your mama Brian every day you were back there to cry about how you didn't have your comforts. You're the biggest bitch ever. Who are you kidding? You're gonna wrestle me and beat me up. I'm done with you, DeCastro. Get on the panel right now or you're a bitch. Next time I come over there, you let me up or you're a bitch. You ain't gonna sit here and take this through. You're boring me. You're boring me. You already destroyed your legacy. You already showed who and what you are. Your numbers are 1/10 of what they used to be. So keep crying about how much money and numbers you got. You were real desperate behind the wall to get green dots. You can't be doing too good. I wasn't crying online last couple times I went to jail for green dots to get out. You're a fascist, statist, collectivist traitor. You cite other men's works for where you get your understanding of God and the law. You're a fascist statist. You ain't an American. You ain't our countryman.
I didn't I try to raise you up?
I didn't. Well, there you go again. Because you gave me a platform to talk the real shit that I'm doing that you're not doing. You did something for me? No, you gave your audience what you should be giving them that you can't give them. I'm sorry, you're such an effeminate bitch who has no passion or truth in you.
Like you have people on your panel and then you cut them down.
No, I expose them for who and what they are. There's a difference. See, you're a victim now. I'm bullying you while you just said you're going to beat me up. I'm bullying you now with the truth by exposing you for who and what you are. And I'm cutting you down, right? You're a victim? No, I'm talking about who and what you are and the record and the facts.
You're not capable of bullying me, bro.
I don't need to bully you. Ann Zimmerman bullied your bitch ass at court. You were crying and begging for forgiveness.
Think about this, man. This is great content for you, dude.
I know it is. It's great content.
You're so welcome, bro.
Oh, thank you, bro. You finally answered the phone and stopped being a complete bitch and answered for who and what you are.
My nuts. I can see you right now. My nuts down there. I see your little white girl.
Your nuts are so small. Your nuts are so small with what you showed at court. No one can ride on them.
Take a bong rip, bro.
Take a bong rip, bro.
Let yourself go, bro.
Yeah.
Let yourself go.
Why don't you suck on this pipe like you want to do, like you were excited to do at jail, bending over for everybody?
I don't smoke dope, dude. The reason why I don't smoke.
No, not that pipe. The pipe you want to put in your mouth with them red glasses, Fruity. Ouch. Gorilla Gems out of the box last second. Sort of replay up from last night. As some of you folks might be aware, we called Mr. Chili decastrated. Because we over here, some points, even to a fault, kind of thrive on accountability and responsibility. Just keep it fucking real. That's all we're asking, right? I see some folks who are over at Slackcots fluffing his baby meat, we'll call it. It's pathetic, but hey, just keep doing it. Keep standing for and defending somebody who's chased everyone in their life away, who's a user, another grifter, liar, power hungry freak who's completely delusional and denial. Just keep going over there, fluffing his baby meat. I and others love to watch it. It's great entertainment. You guys are a fucking embarrassment. And you think that it gets you some kind of like pull with God. You think it's like some virtuous act to allow people to be delusional, in denial, disingenuous, frauding and grifting, power hungry, but not wanting to do or be or create or have or serve anything, right? Just give you some fucking generalized platitudes, just like your politicians do and your fake ass religious leaders. Tell you it's all about God and love and we're coming together and all the rest of it. Yeah. And you folks can't even see through it. So for people like me who understand inherent hierarchical power and value systems, psychology and sociology, you guys are a regular hoot. When we're not like frustrated, banging our heads against the wall, like wanting you to see reality, the other half of the time, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe what I'm witnessing and watching day in and day out, and seemingly is never going to change. So enjoy that. We'll enjoy that, whoever we are. I feel like he's talking to me. Possibly, but I didn't want to be specific if I was. See how equitable I'm being today? See how nice, kind, and polite I'm being? I'm doing generalizations. I'm not even being specific. You know, people don't like when I call them out directly and try to hold them accountable and point out their nonsense. They say I'm bullying them or trying to bully them or cutting them down, like DeCastro said, right? He went from he's going to beat me up to I cut everyone down on panel. That's why no one comes around me. You know, just try to play any fucking lukewarm bitch ass fence riding card you can. It just doesn't fly. It doesn't hold any water. So, you know, the facts are the facts. The record is the record. Who and what we are speaks for itself or not. Because guess what? One thing we learn in life is most people can do whatever they want and fool most other people because most people are in denial and delusional, just like the fake idols they're worshiping, just like the fake leaders they're following right off a cliff. Julian Barbary is here. Julian Barbary, I'll give him the intro. You went to court last night. They were like, oh, please just, you know, plead guilty and we'll dismiss everything and just promise you're not going to get anything else. But you didn't cuck to that. You didn't cop to that. You gave him a counter offer, conditional acceptance, saying you will agree to not do any unnatural or unlawful acts. They said they can't accept your terms and agreement. You wound up going to court. And again, I just believe that in this case, you gave him jurisdiction somewhere. I don't know where. And I'll give you 50-50, right? Either you conceded jurisdiction somewhere. I contend it was the first time you signed. You did sign one thing, correct? Something was signed at some point.
Can I just say?
No. Let me do the intro first. Because the bottom line is they said you're going to jail for 30 days. Then they commuted the sentence. Then they said, could you just pay us some money and do community service? And we can now go from there, right?
When you have to look at yourself in the mirror and realize and really see the bitch in you, it fucking sucks, man. It fucking sucks, but I'm learning.
But okay? Now you know, right? Now you know that odds are, even if you sign their bullshit and give them jurisdiction, they're probably not going to slave you, especially the first few times around for crap like this. I really wasn't worried about you going to jail, man. These people are a lot like me in the sense of they're going to look at you and you don't have tattoo. I'm not saying that like tattoos mean something necessarily. I just like, this is common sense, right? You don't have tattoos. You don't speak like some kind of low life. You're a pretty upstanding person. You have no criminal record. You're not pushing drugs. You're not gang banging. You're not doing anything. When you show up and speak, people are pretty much like, that's what they were scared of, if nothing else. Not even that you know the law, because they probably knew you didn't know what you needed to know, and they got you somewhere, somehow, a couple places. What they're scared of is the fact of having to convict somebody and put him in jail who looks like you, walks and talks like you, lives like you, and isn't really guilty of anything as far as wrongdoing.
Well, I mean, that's not true in their eyes, right? But I've had to learn how to want to do the right thing by, unfortunately, doing the wrong thing first in my life. Like, that shit sucks. But I had to learn what I don't want to create in this life. I don't want to just be responsible for causing loss, suffering, harm, hurt, people around me, and then die. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I've had to learn how to want to keep my own care, to just be better. Be a better person than I was yesterday and build on that every day that you can. And I'm not like, I'm a fucking human, but this was so fucking wild because it's like they were trying to communicate to me without saying it. And I'm just such a fucking, sometimes I'm a ditz. Sometimes it just goes over my head.
What are you seeing specifically? Did something give you an aha moment somewhere?
Yeah. So, I mean, I still haven't signed anything. Right, they actually entered a plea for me. It says here on like the order, pled guilty, and my last words to the court were, "I don't see myself as guilty of these things. I don't see myself as having done any wrong." And so they just like,
they're administrating your estate, man. They're basically like putting you like a sock puppet on and going, "We got jurisdiction. We're stuffing our hand up your ass." And Julian says he's guilty. See, look, he just said it.
At certain points, it does seem like that. And I can't.
And that's why I tell you guys, you have to read the room as you go. Part of this practicing law shit is you probably got to take a couple L's before you get the W. And you got to feel that out, right? So now you know what you're dealing with. They were only going to hit you with 30 days, and they even commuted that. So I'm not saying only like that doesn't suck. I'm saying we're not looking at like months and years. You're looking at 30 days. It's 2/3 time. You're out in 20 days. And most of the time, they're not really wanting to hit you with that. You know, they're wanting to make their money, and they're wanting to get jurisdiction over you, and they want you to do the community service. Now, I'm the type of person where I offer community service or whatever else. I do it all day, every day. I have no problem with that. If the issue is jurisdiction, I will do more than what you're asking me to do if you just admit that you're not my daddy. See, that's the thing. Like, I will serve God and therefore my fellow man in the community more than you're asking me to, if we can just establish that I serve God and not you. You serve me, right? Yeah. And you got you somewhere. You told me you signed something at some point. I know you did.
I have them right here. I want to read to you exactly what they're labeled that I signed, right? Because let's say you get jurisdiction.
You signed the paper. I know what paper you signed. That paper that bitch tried to get me to sign 5 months ago in New Mexico. She said, Paulie, I'd love to rule in your favor since you say there's no one on the other side, and the prosecutor turned his camera off and won't talk. You got to come down and sign that paper that says I understand the charges and that they carry X amount of days. Isn't that the paper you signed?
Yeah, I mean,
of course it is. Of course it is.
Carries a rate of $25 per day to the maximum of 500. Right? So
you signed the fucking bill of lading in the contract.
Yeah,
bro. I'm telling you, if you didn't sign that paper, Data threw that throwaway at you at court when they thought you'd have scared, like they did with me. I said, Mrs. Vega, you and I, she tried to invoke New Mexico NRS, revised statute. I said, you and I both know that even if we're playing on the revised statute side, there is no statute or law saying I have to sign the paper denying a right to an attorney. And also, because it's usually both on that paper, it's denying counsel and saying you understand the charges and what the fines carry. I said, she tried to go, you got to sign the paper that says waiver of counsel. I said, no, I don't. Your procedure says an audible affirmation is enough. I gave you that. I don't need counsel, right? It's obvious I don't need counsel. I'm whooping you with 4 lines. You guys are running in circles. So that's what they did, man. When you did the bench trial, they said, well, we're going to gamble here. He doesn't know what he needs to know. And he already signed the paper saying he understands. You know, and basically that's a bill. That's a contract. You're saying, I understand these charges and I understand that it carries this much. And if I'm found guilty, I'm going to pay.
Son of a bitch.
If you don't, if you don't sign that, they can't fucking push that on you, bro. They'll try to, but they can't because there's no revised statute and there's no law.
But I want to share here because, again, it's not like I didn't get the feeling that these people were just trying to steamroll me. I actually got the feeling.
Real quick, Julian. I want to address this kid, and I'm getting tired of him already. He's only been here a week or so. God is real. Stop going around and making false equivocations and equalizations. Don't compare what I do here on YouTube to every other YouTube channel and try to demean and devalue what I do and say that this is all just YouTube and there's no actual work going on inside of self, outside of self, or on the ground. That's Slackhot. That's the rest of them. Stop equating that to me because we know here for the last 2 and 3 years, that's not the case. Go on, sir. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're fine. No, but it didn't necessarily feel like they wanted to steamroll me. They wanted to hold back. And
because they know you're a good guy and you're good-hearted and you're not a criminal and they actually want to see you play.
Yeah, and the judge, okay, let me back up a little bit. Yesterday when we had that random, immediate hearing over the phone to get me to commit to show up, right? Which I should have just fucking seen as exactly what they were trying to do. But anyway, I felt more... not maybe equal with the judge, but
that's why they came out. That just real quick, because I want to take it one piece at a time. Don't get discouraged by me interrupting. I just don't want to forget. So that's one of the reasons I knew they had you, but they weren't going to. I didn't know. My intuition was they already had you. You were going to get beat, but they weren't going to slay you, and that's why I wasn't worried. I'd have been more kind of put on edge if I thought you were going to see the inside of the box, which we know you're not going to. So. When they came out and said to you, they really, a lot of times it doesn't seem like it. They are trying to help you and let you know you're already beat. When they came out and said, bro, just admit that you're guilty to this in our system and we'll just dismiss all this. Because they knew they already had you, right? They knew when you signed that paper, they already had you. They go, listen, dummy, just say whatever. But you can't do that. See, that's the thing. At that point, They're trying to help you. They're throwing you a bone, but in my world, you can't do that. You got to ride now, right? I appreciate the favor and the offer. I got to ride because I got to do it for me, and that's why they respected you, man.
Well, I mean, I don't want to lie. Like, I had mutual, in a sense, respect for them because I didn't get the sense they were just trying to fucking drag me around. They were seemingly trying to be like, hey, for example, the judge printed off this, it's like a little packet almost, but it's in reference to an Idaho Supreme Court case, right? So it seems like they've had other people involved in this type of understanding as well. And he said, I just kind of want to on the side, it doesn't really pertain to anything, but I just want you to read over that. And then I want to have a discussion with you, even if it's like, just a really short one, to see what you think of it. And I was just like,
that's respect, bro. That's what they start to do. They start to talk to you like real men and they do business. Okay. Just like Masons and anybody else, man. I know the world is the world. And if I'm above it because I'm living a different way, then I'm in a power position, man, even if I'm not, right? They could claim whatever they want. They could have all the system and whatever behind them. Where I get the power and the value is coming in lone gunman with God and the truth and having a conviction. It makes every fucking man in the vicinity look at me twice. That's what respectare means in Latin, to look at you twice. They say, look at this motherfucker. He's not only out here not causing problems, he's bringing some real shit and he's trying to make an argument. This is a player. He loves the law. He wants to learn. He wants to work. They start looking at you as a potential equalized player or potentially someone above and beyond because they've watched everybody get slaved for so long. They're actually excited to watch you play this game. They want to see Julian 10 years from now when he comes back to court and he's got 5 fucking arguments and puts on a performance so good, they go, give it to him. This is just like me, bro. They don't understand when I cook them, like your boy's saying in chat, they don't understand the other side is I'm waiting for them to go back, sit at the fucking easel, rethink it all, right, and come back to me with some real shit. And half the time they never do that. And I go, you bitch ass motherfucker, you fold it up, right? I'm not in this to put you down and oppress you and shit on you. I'm trying to wake you up to something so you could bring something better back to me next time and we could really work here, And that's the same thing they're doing. That's why I started to play the position on here of an administrator in a sense, right? Even administrating folks with, hey, I'm going to throw you out. I'm in this. Because it's like, I'm trying to get you right. I'm trying to tighten you up. I'm trying to get you quick and spontaneous and have an understanding and a conviction that flows from your heart. The rest of this shit is not working. You see, they're doing the same thing. This is how you revise yourself and be revised. This is how you get tempered in the fire, forged in the fire, right? This is how you go through the tests and the challenges and really become a player. I don't mean a liar and a manipulator and a hustler. Exactly the opposite, right? So, yeah, man. He's seeing you as a man. He recognized you as a man. You fucked yourself when you signed that paper. You put them you put yourself in their jurisdiction. If you didn't, they'd have recognized you as a man. You could have lost on the commercial side, but you'd have won on the common law side because there's dual jurisdiction, and they'd have cut you loose like they do with me every time. So you just got to take the L. Be honorable as much as you think that is. I wouldn't necessarily give them any fiat, but that's on you. You got to decide on that. If you want to pay them, make an agreement with them. Hey, I'll give you $20 because essentially what that is, that $450 they're charging you is you want to play the game of court. Now that ain't right because it's all prepaid. That's what taxes and everything else are for, right? Like Wizard likes to talk about. His fucking mortgage ain't prepaid, but a day at court is, right? Those are services everybody has to access. And hey, it wasn't your party. They threw the party and invited you, right? So it's not right to hand you a bill to pay for the food and the music. You get where I'm going with this? So you got to decide how you want to handle that. Ultimately, it really doesn't matter. 450 is not going to change your life. If you want to play court and you want to learn, it's like a college education. It might cost you at least a few $1,000 to learn how to fucking play and practice.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to be honest. That's the first thing I did because I was like, I was preparing to be in here for a year to all that. I didn't sign any of these agreements, but I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to have this on record with the court that like, I went through with this process. I still don't agree fully that I gave jurisdiction. That signature stands strong, though, obviously, right? But I want to share something really quick. Sorry, because in this small little packet referring to this case law that he was sharing was this little section. It said in a criminal case, an Idaho court requires personal jurisdiction over the defendant after his or her first appearance in that case. And then it mentions, aside from this defendant's referenced alleged special appearance, which is of no significance, he does not challenge the claim that he made an appearance in this case. And then it continues, at the pretrial conference. So
he gave you the answers for next time, dude. Do you not get that?
Yeah,
it's like me here. I'm shitting on you to make you realize you're fucked, and then I'm showing you the bottomless pit, and then reminding you have wings. And they go, he's cutting us down. I'm raising you up. You just don't understand it from the negative polarity.
No, that's exactly why I find so much value.
If you to challenge personal and subject matter, I told you there's 3 elements of jurisdiction: personal, subject matter, geographic. I'll get them on all 3. The state of doesn't exist as a physical location. There goes geographical. Subject matter, you guys only have jurisdiction over commercial activity. If not, we proceed under the common law, which is the rules of the court of record. Gotcha on number 2. Number 3 is personal. I'm not a person. Person in Latin is a mask wearer. I'm not a state actor. That's you.
Well, fucking A. See,
a person is also. Let me finish because I always get this one. I have to give you the secondary version of the definition. A person can also be a man or woman, a member of a society who he owes allegiance, duty, and obligation to. That would be the legal society. That's you again.
It's just you got.
So when you sign those papers and you claim to understand and you accept the bill of lading and then you show up as an appearance as the person, state actor, or a part of legal society, that's why. And the last 5 times that I spoke, I got to go get this paper because I got the last one and I never get it verbatim audibly because when I'm in the cell, I got to sit there and go into my heart and put it down with like that, right? So I when I do it audibly, I get 4 things out of 6, 3 things out of 4, but I never get the whole thing. One of the things that I put in there is I am not a surety for the legal fiction known as Paul Ryan Laporta, all caps. I am also not a member of the legal society. So I already challenged jurisdiction before we even step in there, right? By the time we step in there, I'm the only one who can move court based on their definitions. All courts on this land proceed as court of record. Court of record has multiple aspects to it. One of it has the power to fine or imprison, not appealable, I believe, or is appealable. I always get it confused. The main thing is it proceeds under the common law unless a second jurisdiction is invoked, right? Which is the 11th through 14th Amendments, Congressional Citizenry, Public Safety Clause, and Commerce. And that's where they get all you guys. So you live and you learn. You don't beat yourself up. This is a fucking game. The stakes are high. The consequences are real. They didn't slave you. They gave you the fucking answer, bro.
Yeah, that's why, like, after I just walked out of there,
incredible to me.
Dude, it's fucking yes. It's just incredible. I don't know what.
You realize if every one of these pathetic 100,000 people watched my video on that guy's channel calling me a sob set last night. It's up to 100,000 in 24 hours. I'm lucky if I could get 3 to 20,000 here when I'm in the algorithm, right? Imagine if them 100 G's, imagine if the 100,000 slave, cucks over there just did what you just did and let the administrator give him the answer to how to proceed next time and whoop everybody. You'd all secure rights, freedom, principles, and spiritual faith, and we'd be done with this. And the administrators would go, thank God these fucking pathetic slaves finally woke up because it's our ass if they don't. You think they want to go into more slavery? Come on, man. They know the implications. They ain't stupid. They're just doing their job. If you want to act like a hoe, then all they know how to do is pimp. Sorry. Not sorry. I give it away here all day, every day. I prove the concept with my ass on the line 4 or 5 years at a time facing charges. I gave you guys the game. I told it I didn't sell it. No trifolds, cryfolds, no none of that. You want a trifold? It's the Constitution. Figure out how it codifies your natural rights. There's your trifold. You want a trifold? How about a mind, body, and spirit?
Yeah, man. Regardless, I mean, just what if I knew there was a purpose for the experience. And again, it's up to when you have those experiences to actually utilize them and not just fucking waste them and not just, you know, it's just, I kind of feel
You want to get
in a weird
arrested
way-
again, don't you?
Don't say that. Oh God, but I mean, like,
You want to get
that-
arrested so you go to court again and beat them with their own shit that they gave you, don't you?
well, I mean, no, it's just like, I don't know, man. That's just wild. I want to continue to learn more. Yeah.
How do you think broken system, broken trust, right? Joshua, he's kind of quirky. He's not the greatest speaker. He don't really know much, but he learned enough doing Zoom with me and studying other shit to go in there and challenge jurisdiction, and he won 4 out of 5. You don't get much better than 4 out of 5, and the 5th one I think is still in process.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's not going to happen unless you do it. You'll miss every single shot you don't take, every single one. So I don't know. Go into things with honor. I've gone to things dishonorably, and I've gone into things honorably, and I can definitely say one. I prefer one over the other. I prefer to live my life one way.
They like you, man. That's the bottom line. They like me too, but I'm an asshole, right? You're not so much, you know. And I think they can see through my veneer. They know when I come on here and when I deal with the slaves, they know why I do what I do. When they get me in the back room and I talk to them, I'm still passionate. I get loud sometimes, but they can feel my heart. They know my heart. I'm on record, right? So they kind of like me. They don't want to see an underdog, a salt of the earth guy who really has nothing and nobody other than God and the truth, which is enough behind him, get smoked, right?
Exactly. No, I mean, I think there are the people who will recognize at least the care that still exists in one's heart, right? Yeah, I mean, wow, what an experience. Sorry, I'll stop kind of.
No. I'm doing all the talking, bro. You're not. I'm always interrupting you.
But no, I mean, that's pretty much the update. They did say don't get another misdemeanor for another 12 months. But again, I never signed anything. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Not going to be trying to harm anybody. If my newfound friends over at whatever agencies want to have more interactions, I guess we'll talk about that.
If you're going to continue to ride around, I would give that administrator and everybody as much notice as possible that no disrespect. You're not trying to cause loss, injury, and harm. You have a personal liability bond. I would make a personal liability bond, which is basically like 2 lines on paper swearing that if you cause any loss, injury, and harm, you have X amount of funds in escrow up to potentially the state requirement, which would be $5,000. You know, I have no problem telling them, listen, I understand what you guys are doing to a certain degree. You want to make sure that every jerk off out here ain't just riding around running into each other. And sticking everybody with the bill and putting mom out in the street after you hit her going through a stop sign, right? You know, putting her out of a whole house and a livelihood. The reality is the state minimum coverage is $5,000. So all I have to do to satisfy their statutory requirements is to have a personal liability bond where I give my word that I have $5,000 in the chamber, if necessary, to compensate up to the state minimum in the event that I'm involved in an at-fault accident, right? Anything beyond that is just nonsense, really. You know, the license contract doesn't mean you're going to be better or do better at anything on the road at all. We know that. You know, the registration is essentially turning private property into public property. They can't make a law to force you to do that. So, you know, does that mean they're not going to take me and others every time that the cop thinks he caught me without a license? Yeah, probably, until they get sued and they don't want to fuck with me no more, which we're in the process of. But yeah, man, you know, you get on the record so much that they go, oh, it's him again. Yeah, he's not really trying to cause us a problem. He's not even really being belligerent and combative. He's just kind of sticking to his convictions and trying to understand himself and the law and what it means to be free and also responsible and accountable. He's trying to ride the line, right? That's a man. How they're going to fault you for that, you know? And if they fault you for that, does it really matter? You're still the man, you know, trying to learn who and what you are, know yourself, learn this life, be free, and also be accountable and responsible. So, you know, it's not like it's a surprise to them. You're giving them adequate notice. You let them know you're not being belligerent and combative. You're not trying to overthrow their shit. It's just that you have a conviction and you want to continue to practice upholding the law and you exercising your right, regardless of what the beliefs of the legal society and corporate entities are, right? Service providers. And as far, you know under God, you're well within your rights to do that. And quite frankly, they know it too.
Yeah, and that's kind of like why I'm so. It's just like confusing to me because that didn't seem dishonorable. What at least the judge did. I can't say he's the one who uh, filled out this sheet and put the pled guilty on there, right? Maybe that was a clerk. I don't know, but like
No, they did it.
one thing.
No, he did it. They did it.
Yeah, it was him himself. But like,
no, yeah, they did it because you gave up jurisdiction and said that you wanted them administrators to. You said it indirectly that they're going to administrate your property and your beingness because you're not competent to uphold the law or exercise your rights. You indirectly said that.
Shouldn't it have still read pled not guilty? Maybe that's another favor. Maybe
that's kind of sketchy.
I didn't plea at all. Like that's
it's kind of sketchy because usually in those scenarios, jurisdiction or not, they're going to enter a plea on your behalf, which is still, that's when you say, okay, like they did it with me. I go, well, let the record show that Mr. and Mrs. Smith, whoever it is acting as my counsel from the bench and just entered a plea on my behalf. So please allow them to, represent that person when it comes time for trial. Since they want to bear the liability of entering the plea, they can bear liability of the charges and they can litigate. Why should I be there?
Right? Yeah, and it's just so bizarre because the first hearing judge that I had, he said, okay, then we'll enter a plea for you of not guilty, right? I said, again, I have no plea to enter. That's how I responded. I have no plea to enter with you guys. I'm just trying to give you this notice about my unlawfully seized property. But judge put in a plea for me.
Where is that paperwork, and why did you not bring that up during this hearing, non-hearing?
I don't want to say I just froze up, but I feel like I get a little overwhelmed trying to make sense of everything.
I get that. There's a lot when you're on the field and you're in the middle of the game. It's a lot to keep track of, right?
Yeah.
But, obviously that was a clerical error,
right?
And you didn't catch it and point it out, and that proves they really didn't have you. That's the thing. Even with they never have you completely, even with the signature, and then they just go, we're going to enter a plea on your behalf, not guilty. And then you show up next time and it goes, it says that you think you're guilty. And okay, well, and it's like, you don't, if you don't advocate for yourself and point out how, hey, I not only didn't enter a plea of guilty, I didn't even enter a plea of not guilty because we can't establish the facts. How can I establish guilt, which is synonymous with wrongdoing, when I haven't faced my accuser yet? I'd love to tell you I'm guilty, and I'm not going to say I'm not guilty because I might have done something I'm not aware of. But it's just like everything, man. Live and you learn, and if you're going to play the game, you got to have your wits about you, and you got to point out, whoa, hold up. How are we getting to this? I'm just curious. Just tell me. Explain to me, right? I'm not even. Just tell me how we got to this. And they're, oh my gosh, Julian, I didn't even notice that we entered a plea of guilty on your behalf. I mean, come on, like the guy came out and said, "Do you please just plead guilty so we can dismiss all this and go away?" They just wanted to get their way because they didn't have you. And they couldn't legitimately even do the bench trial and get you. So they did a clerical error accidentally, and you didn't pick it up and you didn't point it out. So that's what went through on the paperwork. It's just like if they're, hey, this package is yours. Okay, you're signing for it. Yeah, okay, we'll see you later. You're not pointing out it's not your package. You don't know where it came from. You're not going to sign for it. And then you want them to like argue with you about taking the package or bearing the liability or, having to drop it off. You get what I'm saying? So it's just part of the fucking game, man. Now, is that kind of grimy and corrupt? Yeah. Will that teach you to fucking open your eyes and open your mouth or respond to the court on paper? If you have a paper trail of that, are they claiming that these proceedings are appealable?
Yeah. And like you
better go in for appeal and point out that you said you weren't not only not guilty, that you never said you were not guilty. And they said themselves they were going to put in a plea on your behalf. And then they switched that up completely without your consent.
Yeah, they have no way to confirm that an appearance was ever actually made. I was physically at the court. I was physically at the court, but I was trying to give the court a notice to the best of my ability that you have my property. They still have it, which I'm going to have to figure out how to go about, because I'm not just going to sit here and be like, yeah, okay, run a background check, as if you haven't done that 10 times already without asking me anyway, to get my shit back from you that you didn't ask me to take. You just took it. So I don't know. It's wild to realize kind of where I'm at. That's okay. I can just work from where I'm at to try to improve.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do the appeal process and get them on record as either negligent or derelict in their duty, right? I mean, you don't want to call them out too much to piss them off, but you want to get it on record and get everything reversed and cleared out, clear the record.
Exactly.
And hey, how I am is if I got to piss people off to clear the record, well, oh well, because you guys, we know the game you're playing, right? You're going to be mad at me. At some point, I'll tell them, listen, we're doing appeals here because somebody's like either a bit negligent or derelict in their duty. I don't want to believe that. But if we continue with this process, I'm going to be naming a lot of people on a lawsuit, and we're going to be showing up to court on the other side. And it's going to be like to the tune of some administrator, magistrate, court clerk. I'm not scared to put anybody on that paperwork. I'm suing cops and sheriffs and jail owners, whoever that person is, the chief of the jail, whatever. We could get everybody on there. I don't mind. Let's make it a party, man.
Yeah,
So do what's true and what's right, or you get to come to the party, and we get to dance. So it's part of the game, man.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely got the paper trail, and again, I don't want to just go in pretending, trying to be like Rambo, like let's fucking engage or whatever. But
no.
I think just enough on their own process alone for me to point out some of these discrepancies might be enough for any rational appellate court to be like, yeah, the procedure is definitely not being followed to our liking. I mean, maybe they don't care about how people are running their branch of the corporation, but I don't know. Just wasn't an experience. Do
you have the first paper that says that it's on record that you're not guilty and we're doing a trial?
Yeah. Well, let me double check.
Okay, so then that conflicts with them the next time claiming you say you're guilty, and because they want you to say that, because if you don't, they can't actually do the trial and come out on top. So they had to fill in for you that you say you're guilty. And now you have to, and that's a way for them to get that administrator, that prosecutor ever could say, oh, we won. Another one we won. And it's like, you guys stacked the deck. And when we go to appeal, we're going to point this out. And if they're any kind of legitimate, they're just going to reverse that. And you're still going to get credit on the front end. On the back end, I'm going to be credited. Right. So this is kind of their fucking game, man. Just like they did with the Castro. He wants to sit there and talk about 7 figures, bro. You're not getting it. You gave him jurisdiction. You clowned and cocked the fuck out. You signed the contract and paid to get slaved. And then you want to go to appeal process and continue in the same jurisdiction and not point out the common law, the proper process and procedure, or the foundational law of this land. It's everything but what should be done, right? So you're already playing in now, and now your only recourse is to sue everybody or to try an appeals process. This is why it's easier to get into the jurisdiction than it is to get out, right? And it's a lot easier to remedy and resolution if you don't get in than it is once you're in. So yeah, man, I would say you're in for a penny, in for a pound. If you want to learn more and practice more, then just take it through the appeals process. You got another sort of tool in your box that they gave you that, by the way, your experience confirms mine now, because the administrator gave you a Supreme Court hearing, literally gave you, out of all the crap, gave you the one thing that you need so that next time you can just challenge jurisdiction and they can't go anywhere with it. You pigeonhole them. So you already got everything you need for the next time, and you already gave me and everyone else here proof of concept. Now you just got to kind of continue to play the game till you're done, right? From that jurisdiction or that perspective. So yeah, man, you're already in it. You already gave them jurisdiction. They're already playing with you and showing you they respect you and giving you answers. I take them to appeal, challenge the decision, and point out that there's a clerical error, and that we got a mistrial here.
Yeah, and I want to clarify, he handed me an Idaho Supreme Court case, right? So again, there's some with that, right? Because it's Idaho's Supreme Court that was challenging this, or it was brought to the appellate court, and the appellate court returned a decision, and that's where I read that quote from, is that packet that he gave me. So it's still very clear in my eyes that they are, well, okay, seemingly saying you're just handing over jurisdiction and you don't even know it. So I don't know, damn. I gotta believe I'm gonna make progress. I gotta have
Where's
faith.
LTW with his hit song? She's a slave and she doesn't even know it. he's got a song he wrote that's like that. Yeah, that's pretty much, that's 95% of the time or more, man. Is that everybody overlooks clerical errors, doesn't point out the negligence or the dysfunction of the corruption, and just signs papers and argues or gives them a word or a bond some way, somehow, and just wraps themselves up like a mummy.
Yep. Can't deny it. But I mean, still, I'm here for the experience. It's going to do nothing but add, to my ability. We'll see where we go from here.
Yeah, you basically got, for $450 and a few hours of community service, which you could find a way to want to do that anyway if you're a good person. Yeah, man, for $450, you already got your first lesson in education on proof of concept, challenging jurisdiction straight from the horse's mouth. So, if you got to pay another 3 times $450 to get 3 more cards in your arsenal, that's 4 or 5 cards that you're going to be able to play every time you go in there, right? It pays for itself. Long game. And again, you can't trade any of that, wins or losses, for the experience itself, right?
Exactly. I don't know how I could ever put a dollar amount on that. But all right, I'm gonna hop off. Thanks for chatting about it, and everybody have a good night. Make it a good time. Let's see you when we see you next time.
All right, there you go. So once again, we ain't just whistling Dixie. This ain't just sob sit mumbo jumbo. Another guy went to court and signed the papers that I didn't, which is why he got in jurisdiction. And after they beat him by stacking the deck and cheating, they gave him the answers to how to not get beat next time. And it's the same shit I and others keep telling people. So, go, I guess, run it back to all the dysfunctional, cucked out slaves who want to act like me and others don't know what the fuck we're doing. And there's no legitimacy to it. It's quite the opposite, as we know here, right? I'm not lucky. I'm good at what I do. Nobody's as lucky as I've been. And because I'm good with what I do for the right reasons, it shows up in other people's lives and their experience, right? And that's the fellowship process. That's the process of becoming. That's the process of unslaving nationwide. You know how many folks hear the sound of my voice every day? Thousands. You know how many of them are going to go out and practice this stuff and get somewhere? Even if it's 1% at a time. And they're going to run that package back to everyone else they know. And over time, right, if we remain steadfast and we remain vigilant and we actually care and do the next right thing and trust, equity, and faith, we're going to get some answers here. We're going to get some experience, and we're going to get some resolution and remedy that folks never thought was possible. And that's what the decastrated one and the others can't figure out. The authentic, organic path to actualization, realization, becoming through the tests and challenges forged in the fire. If you want to get to heaven, you got to go through hell first. The tree of life's roots reach down to hell. It's the reality of it, man. All right, let's go. Breaking slave news. I'm on the road tomorrow, by the way. So if you're here now and you want to catch us, as in me, the royal we, us tomorrow, the kingdom of Enslavia, it may be a little late. We're going to be on the West Coast, I think, technically. So an hour earlier. Okay, so we're going to buy an hour tomorrow, which is good news. So even though I might get out there 4, 5, 6 o'clock, we'll still be coming in around the 5 or 6 o'clock mark for the broadcast. So maybe an hour or two later, max, if everything goes according to plan, looking for land. And no, we're not going to be squatting like all the slaves projected onto me and lied about me on Van Balion's pathetic weak-ass channel. Why would I need to squat on land? But quite frankly, at some point, just to be honest with everyone, like I always am, what you guys are really going to cry when I go out to where I'm going and come across a piece of abandoned house and land, and I do a quiet title, and I wind up getting a house for like nothing and then fixing it up and selling it or renting it. And that's just another way I'm going to tell you to suck my dick. And you're going to go, Paul, he's such a fucking commie piece of shit. He doesn't fucking work. He doesn't serve anything. He just wants everything the easy way and free, because you don't know how to do or be shit. in any way. You don't understand how to like take something and turn it into more, right? And I do. That's my hustler spirit, right? Not in a negative way. I'm gonna come across because I've already decided at some point. We were riding around New Mexico. I saw all these abandoned properties that were disheveled. They're eyesores. Everyone in the area's got to want them fixed up anyway. So I'm doing a service indirectly. And it's going to be a come up for me and Jennifer potentially. If not, it's just more experience, right? What are we going to deal with a trespass? We already did that when we weren't trespassing. So now we're actually going to do what they claim we're doing while we were buying property and got arrested for trespass and guns and everything else. I'm actually going to do now. I'm going to go on abandoned properties that don't have no trespassing sign, and I'm going to acquire them through quiet title, and I'm going to fix them up, even if I have to keep them for a 7-year retirement policy. Indirectly, that's what I'm going to do, because legally after 7 years uncontested, most of these places 5 to 7 years or more. After that point, it legally becomes mine. Lawfully, it's mine. If there's no trespassing sign, it's abandoned and nobody can test. Legally becomes mine after a certain time limit. So if nothing else, I put it in today. We wait 7 years. I mark the calendar. When that day comes up, oh, by the way, I own a property today, and I'm going to put some investment into that, and I'm going to turn it over, and that's my retirement right there. So, you got to move on the fly here. You got to move and shake. You got to have some fucking wherewithal. You got to have some wits about you. You got to have some will on you, some courage to do what the others won't, instead of acting like a fucking weak ass pathetic slave. Right? I'm not down on the working man by any means. You want to work hard and save and put that towards stuff? Yeah, I've done that. I'm doing that. And there's other aspects to life and creation, legal and lawful, right? Why not use that to our advantage? Why not beautify the area? Why not do a service to the neighbors? Why not come up on something? You got to exercise it. You got to understand that an exercise, it works if you work it. So that'll be the next part of the arc, the story arc, if you will, is working that process and procedure and seeing where that goes. Questions, comments, concerns? I'm going to throw the link. The link is also in description if you can't click it, or if it's not clickable on the pinned option up there. Let's go slave news. Then I'm going to go, I may do Percy, OG Percy, just to shake things up a little bit. Tales from a Crypt. Jail stories, essentially. Why not? LA wildfires, one of the largest battery storage plants, catches fire in California. We're continuing. We're expanding and expounding on this. Wildfires, by the way. Oops. Here it is. No narrator on this? All right, we'll just watch it burn. Okay, there we go.
I represent Vistra, a company who owns and operates the Moss Landing power plant. Just to reiterate, between 2 and 3 p.m. yesterday, we did our internal staff did discover a fire, and we immediately engaged with North County Fire Department as per our procedures. One of the things that we started immediately was air monitoring from the onset. And we've been working collaboratively with the EPA, with the chief, and internally with Diana's.
Heed the evacuation order. We don't take those things lightly when we issue them.
Who's that? Ronaldo Giuliani?
Safety. The number one priority is the protection of people's lives. Whether it's cooperating, and it's been in our favor. And all I can say is thank God for that, because wind, as we know, what happened in Southern California does crazy things, and so we're not dealing with that.
Disgusting.
Ian having some choice words for these folks, and what some have called the direct energy weapon fires. You get the point. That it just doesn't seem like this is all happening coincidentally. It doesn't seem to me and others to be an act of God. This seems to be completely organized and planned, like most things. While they sign the bills to speed up the recovery, to build whatever's going to go in place, I wonder. And a lot of folks, the rumblings are happening saying that all the houses without smart meters haven't been lit up on fire for some odd reason. We can't confirm or deny, right? But I'm sure as time goes on, we'll be getting more stories and we'll be hearing more connections and correlations. Who knows? You decide, as they used to say. Dateline NBC, you decide. All right, let's go to Trudeau, everybody's favorite effeminate prime minister. Up north, Trudeau warns Canada will not hesitate to act on Trump tariff threat despite polite approach, right? So now they're beating the war drums between U.S. and Canada. They're also beating the drums of New World Order in the sense of uniting Mexico and United States and Canada. It's not like that wasn't talked about 10 to 20 years ago. NAFTA superhighways, uniting whole continents under one world government. What a coincidence, huh? Mark, another one for the conspiracy theorists. What was it? The 5G towers, the vaccines, the political system, the religions, the chemtrails, the everything. They just mark it down. The conspiracy theorists are 10 for 10, 15 for 15, 100 for 100 when it comes to interpreting or figuring out what's actually happening, while the media and the rest of them just fucking lie to you or perpetrate a bunch of nonsense, because they're either willingly corrupt or they're just a bunch of mass duped and deluded genocided Babylonian slaves. It's just seems to be one or the other. And then there's like a sliver of folks, 1 to 3 to 5 to 10% max, who can actually see, feel, hear, talk, understand, and maybe even be willing to change something here. God forbid, huh? Trump, there you go. They're eating our cats, they're eating our dogs. Okay. Whatever you need to do to, like, you guys always need an enemy. You always need to demonize somebody in order to give you purpose and meaning and value. We know a lot of people like that. The unnamed one, for example. Every day I watch the unnamed one, Mr. Slackcott, and the people in chat, the willingly or the willingly corrupt or the delusional and deluded, every day ask the same questions. And it doesn't matter how many times I answer it. They will presuppose their own rhetorical question and their own answer. They go, why does Slackcott bring up all these people to attack them and disrespect them? Because without the false enemies he's created, he has no meaning, purpose, and value. And he has nothing to broadcast about. Are we going to get a clue at some point? No, we're not, because we're going to choose to believe what we want to believe. Slaves always choose to believe what they want to believe rather than choose to accept what is. We've learned that. They will always support what they want to be true instead of accept what is true. The mask and the vaccine and the rest of it proves it. So it doesn't begin or end with Mr. Slackcott, of course. Just another micro, macro relativity experience that I've noticed. And that goes for, I don't want to pick on Mr. Slackcott. That goes for the majority of hosts to a degree, as myself included. I'm sure there are times where I could do things better, and instead of folks pointing that out, they go, well, we'll just ride with Paulie Boy because he's 90% of what we're looking for or what needs to happen. And then the other 10%, we overlook it. And I'm because I'm me, of course, I'm going to somewhat defend that, because there's one thing to be on the mark 90% and have 10% you could do better that is overlooked versus 90% delusional in denial and maybe 10% redeemability, and blowing that 10% up like it's the whole thing and ignoring the 90%, right? It's almost, we're back to inversion land. All right, let's hear the threats.
The latest piece of our Team Canada approach to make sure we have all hands on deck as we approach the challenge of the incoming administration. Let's be clear-eyed. We have our work cut out for us. As we saw on Wednesday, however, people are coming together in a Team Canada way that is really impressive. Listen to me. All the premiers are entirely united on knowing that this is a moment to stand up for Canada, stand up for our sovereignty, and be there.
All of a sudden, there's sovereignty going on.
But to protect the most successful economic trading relationship in the world in history between Canada and the United States. The proposed tariffs would put American jobs at risk, raise prices for American consumers, put our collective security at risk, and raise costs all across the continent at a time where people, quite frankly, need a break. So we want to work as partners. We want to make sure that North America is ready to take on the trading and security challenges of the world by working together.
You mean like the North American Trade Union and then the NAFTA and all the rest of the conspiracy theories? Is that what we're leaning into here now? See, it's always conspiracy theory till it becomes accepted as the next thing we're going to do, right? The vaccine was never going to happen till it became, you got to get vaccines forever in order to live. Anyone there for that? Anyone? Okay, you were there. Shout out to Grandma, who may or may not still be in a plexiglass box for everyone's safety. Hello.
Uncertain time everywhere around the world, and best friends working together to compete and succeed in a complex world just makes sense. So that is what we are focused on trying to do. At the same time, as I've said consistently, if the incoming American administration moves forward with tariffs, we will not hesitate to act. We will respond, and I will say it again.
Disgusting.
Everything is on the table. Now, with the help of all of you, I hope we can avoid that outcome. We're going to be true Canadians in this. Strong, polite, looking for the right ways to do things that we can get win-wins out of it. But if push comes to shove, we will be strong and unequivocal in our defense of Canada and Canadians.
Right. We're going to be polite and strong, like Canada's known for, and we're going to protect our sovereignty. More nonsense, board-like games between countries or corporations masquerading as countries. Does it ever really end? Man confronts officer who arrested him. We're go copping out segment quickly. I don't know if I'm going to finish this, but I guess it looks rather interesting.
On Christmas Eve, officers respond to a disturbance outside a Meijer grocery store.
Don't worry about
Disgusting.
it. Am I being detained?
No, relax for some.
No, I ain't relaxing with you because I don't like police officers to begin with. So
Have you met me before?
I don't care.
I'm a pretty good guy, dude.
I know you are. Hey, am I being detained? I'm not. I'm leaving.
No, so right now we
Yes or
what's
no?
going on?
Yes or no? Am I being detained, bitch?
Relax. You're okay.
Oh, I'm not.
You guys want to just trespass?
Suck my dick. So I'm not being detained unless.
Okay, so we got a person who right away here needs some attention. So Daddy's going to help him out. You're not getting it. I'm being sarcastic. The point is Canada as a corporation doesn't have any sovereignty. They're literally the sovereign citizens. All the public servants are claiming they have sovereignty while they're putting all the actual citizens or the men and women on the land under policy and code and corporate slavery. That's why I'm doing the sarcasm. Can you check the record on who and what I am and what I do and stand for before you start fucking projecting onto me, please? Because it's going to go bad for you. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, have a good day then, buddy.
How about this handsome man? Suck my dick first.
Thank you. I appreciate the compliment.
I got to offend y'all because y'all offend me.
No, all right.
My bad.
Have a good day, man.
You guys like to kill innocent people and then like get away with it.
If you want to ride home, I can drive you home if you want.
Yeah, drive me off. No.
If you want me to, I can. Do you live here in town?
I live in Waukegan.
That's too far, man.
How you ask me to drop me off?
Well, if you live here in town, I can. Do you have family here? I can drop you off.
He goes, hey, bro, you want to ride home? Yeah, where do you live? Oh, that's too far. I'm not going that way.
House here. If you have family here in town. Yeah, drop it to Waukegan, unfortunately, all right?
You just said you weren't going to take me home.
If you lived here in town, I would, yes.
Yeah, Waukegan's too far, man.
Yeah, I got to stay in my jurisdiction, all right?
That bitch with that white bitch looking at me.
Nah, don't look at her. Just ignore her, all right? Don't worry about her. Can I help you in any other way?
You.
All right, can I help you in any other way? Are you good?
Take me back to Waukegan.
I can't do that.
So why are you asking me to take me home?
If you lived here in town, I could. I can't just leave my people, my partners behind and take off for an hour and not be here in town.
You know somewhere local we can take it. We can have to help you out there. Hey, take me over there by Phillips 66, yeah? I'm going to rob that shit after.
No, don't be saying that.
Hey, I'm going to give y'all some, something to do.
This guy's now, like, this guy should start a broadcast and a panel. I'd watch it. He's now asking the cops to take him on accessory to robbery trips. Hey, take me over there. I'm going to rob something. No, we can't do that.
Okay.
Take me over there by Phillips.
Nah, I'm not taking you anywhere now.
Take me out in front of
All right, well, you don't say that kind of stuff and then ask us to give you a ride, all right?
Well, y'all go.
Relax, all right?
You guys,
you better relax.
Hey, take me to go get some weed, man. And drop me off.
I know. That's why. That's why I'm
on Phillips 66, actually. Yeah. You remember me? You're probably too drunk to remember me.
I remember.
Yeah.
You over there trying to say I saw to you when the whole time you fucking choked at me.
I did not touch you. You came at me. I never saw anyone.
So you did the rest, yes or no?
I arrested you afterwards.
No,
After you came at me,
I said, did you do the rest? Yes or no?
Did I do the what?
The rest. Get out on the floor. Did you do that, yes or no?
I arrested you after, like, yes. All right, we're going to take off. You have a good rest of your day.
I'm literally dying.
All right, man. Have a good rest of your day. All right, good luck.
No, I didn't say anything. I don't want to walk home. I want to walk. Hey, you take me back, yeah?
No, man, I can't take you over there.
You a bitch.
I can't.
So now you don't want to take me back home.
Where do you live?
I don't know where, but I live at least on the street.
So you live down by Phillips 66, correct?
I'm gonna rob that bitch right now.
You're not gonna do anything, all right?
I'm not gonna do it. I promise. But
okay, so I'm not gonna take you anywhere. So you can't make those.
So in case I rob it, you want me really to rob it? Take me home.
No, I don't want you to rob it.
Then take me home then.
Okay, where do you live? What's the address?
I live in the woods right there.
You live in the woods behind it? Oh, you stay in the woods? You're saying? I'm trying to get.
Bro, I live
a location.
I live around there. Motherfucker,
what street? What
you
street?
literally just say you want to take me home, and now you want to.
Yeah, what street? I need a physical address.
Phillips 66. Take me there right now.
They're closed. First off, and that's not. I need a house, a residence. I can drop you off.
Drop me off right there.
If you want me to do that, I'm gonna need your name. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here.
You just say you're gonna take me home.
No, we can't take you home.
I'm homeless.
Okay, where do you want us to take you? We can't take you.
Then technically you are home right now.
This motherfucker knows me from the back of his
Yeah, I forgot your name though, man. All right, we're gonna take off. Please do not create any disturbances here. That's locked. All right, don't create any disturbances, please. Just enjoy your night.
You gonna take me back home?
I can't drive you there. All right, I can't.
You just literally.
Okay, I'm not dropping you off first at a liquor store, and I'm not going to drop you off at a location.
I don't live nowhere else. What are you talking about? You're asking me.
I don't know where you live.
I'm telling you where I live.
And that is?
Right there.
That's not a location. It's not an address.
By the way, can anyone figure out how we've already done 6,000 views today and the counter hasn't gone over 180? Like, it's so fraudulent. There's no way within the hour 5,000 something people, 5,400 people left and came back when the counters went from 180 to 150 within an hour. There's no way. You guys just lie about everything. It's incredible. But hey, keep going. I enjoy it.
I'm homeless as fuck, bro. What do you
If you don't give me my counter back, I'm robbing somebody, all right?
Because you just tried to rob a place in that area. We're going to take off now.
It's a beautiful day out, and it's a short walk. It is really nice.
But I want to go to sleep. You just say you take me home to my house. Is that cool or no?
So you said you don't have a house.
Yeah.
And then you told us.
So what does it matter? What do you guys take homeless people? So what are the police officers doing for the homeless people tonight? I guess that's the real question. What are you?
What are you?
What are you?
Doing for you?
I'm homeless. Bitch.
No.
What are you talking about?
All right, that's enough, right?
No, I ain't know none of that because you guys. She asked me. I can't do nothing for homeless people because I'm homeless my damn self.
Dude, just relax.
Don't act like.
Hand in my face.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Dude.
Leave like you're supposed to leave. I just want to know all that.
You bitch ass. You look like you fucking scream for no reason. You jack off. Okay. Take me over there.
Where's over there?
I just fucking said.
Well, the fact that you said you're gonna rob
this motherfucker. I don't even gotta tell this bitch none because he knows where I live. This guy knows. So hey, is it cool if I sleep over there tonight?
I'm not saying that, but you can at least.
But you're saying it right now, and I got you on film. I really got you on film. This is actually like a social experiment.
I have one thing too.
Okay, that's fine. Can y'all take me over there? Because he's actually a good man.
Thank you.
I know you guys are some pieces of shit.
That's cool.
When y'all take me home, you look like you play Fortnite. You jack off every day.
All right, man, we're going to take off, all right? Just please, just behave tonight, all right? Please, do us a favor, all right? Don't cause a scene with anyone here. Just chill out.
I'm not.
Enjoy the holidays.
Bro, you know me.
Well, we're going to take off. I know,
I
I get that. But we're going to take off now. All right? Stop. Don't start. All right? Don't start. It's a friendly warning, okay?
All right. This is a friendly warning.
Okay. Enjoy. Go ahead. Take care, okay?
Go to hell. Go to hell.
Take care.
Go to hell.
Take care.
Go to hell.
Start walking. Start walking.
Go to hell. Go to hell.
All right.
I want to go to hell. What are you gonna do? I'll go to court. What'd I do?
All right, I'm gonna double lock these. All right.
You guys. So what? I don't got no freedom of speech. You know that one. You guys.
Oh, the other side. Actually, that's fine. I'll do this side. All right, man. Do you have anything in your pocket that's gonna hurt me?
I got your baby mama on my.
Okay, cool. Well, that's fine. You can have her. All right. I'm gonna just make sure you have nothing on you. All right.
He doesn't want her either.
Thank you. I'm gonna keep your phone.
I don't give a fuck. Bitch.
All right, that's fine. Take a seat, man.
You guys are gonna kill me.
Take a seat. Be careful. Wash your head. Take a seat.
What's your name?
Sanchez. Take a seat, man.
Sanchez?
Yep.
You're gonna get me out of my fucking, you're gonna get me out of my fucking bullshit.
Okay, go ahead and take a seat, man, please.
If I gotta pay for a lawyer, I am.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Take a seat.
Think I'm playing.
You're gonna pay for a lawyer while he just said he's homeless and over there.
Don't give me no ticket. I swear to God, you little guys better go.
Thank you. Take a seat.
I will email Paul on slave.
I ain't do shit to y'all.
73, everyone in custody.
What'd I do to you? What? Hey, what law did I break?
Well,
what law did I break? Answer me, you little bitch.
Can I explain myself?
Please, I want to because I'm taking you. Watch, I'm taking you to court.
That's fine.
I'm taking you to court right now. So what are you charging me for?
Disorderly conduct.
Hey, what are you charging me for? I keep asking you. You got me in your car and
I just told you.
You're detaining me for what?
Disorderly conduct.
What are you charging me for?
I just told you disorderly conduct.
What?
Disorderly conduct.
Disorderly conduct? Okay. Okay, perfect. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, you can't be out in public intoxicated.
I ain't intoxicated, bitch. I'm not signing shit. You guys suck my dick.
Yeah, no, I don't need you to sign anything.
I want you to sign my dick.
Oh, thank you, I'll pass.
What did I do to you? It's freedom of speech, bitch. I literally did not break
You also assaulted me, so I mean,
I ain't touch you.
You don't have to touch me for assault.
This guy's still gonna do better at court than decastrated.
I'm gonna take this to court. Bitch.
You need help getting out, or you want to get out yourself?
So I don't care. You can't leave me here forever, bitch.
I want to.
I know you want. Look at your. You just say you want to. You want to. What? I ain't doing none of y'all.
All right, let's get out, man. We'll talk about it in there.
I didn't know. What are we talking about, bitch? I didn't do shit to you, bitch. It's because of this motherfucker right here. Yeah, I can do shit on.
Now, the police academy teaches you a lot, but patience is learned in the field.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. When it comes to policy enforcement, I mean, I'm never going to be like in love with it. But in this case, they did everything they could to try to de-escalate with this clown, try to get him to just go on his way, offered him a ride, well, till they I guess took the ride back. They kind of offered a ride. They did, but they didn't. It was a nice gesture. They meant well, But yeah, I mean, in cases like this, it's kind of like this guy's like throwing rocks at the jail, begging to get in. So I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm sure it's a regular occurrence with this guy. He seems like one of those guys like Otis from Mayberry, where he walks himself into the cell, closes the door, and goes, "I need a good week in here anyway." Kind of dry out. He finally got his ride home, right? Guess he technically did. All right. Let's move along here. Move along. Nothing to see here. We're just getting word now that guy's name, Julio De Castro, says he's a law scholar. Seems as much of a law scholar as anyone else I've met on YouTube. Strict judge threatens famous sovereign citizen with contempt. We got a Slavin, Judge Slavin, one of our favorites. As we know, Joshua and others from the broadcast have appeared, as they like to say, presented in front of Mr. Slavin. And I just love that name. I can't say it enough. Slavin. Spelled like it sounds. So Slaven. Great stuff. See what they got to. What do you have to offer me, Slavin?
SM.
Hi guys, welcome to
Oh my
TV's Court
god,
TV.
no one gives a fuck, you dumb bitch. All these people always got to be seen and heard and have nothing to say. Hey guys, we're now going to watch Slavin. He's going to deal with a sob citizen and subscribe to my channel because it's Becky Does It. Subscribe to Becky Does It. Don't ask what I do. Don't ask my baby daddies either. Can we fast forward this? We're fast forwarding this. Absolutely ridiculous. Leave the commentary to me, lady, all right?
Where's
God of all
Terry?
media. Get real.
Everybody hear me?
Yes. Good morning, Judge Donna Sub on behalf of the people, P87439.
Oriana James.
Slavin's
Kubicki
gotten
on
so
behalf of-
fat and like self-conscious that he's not even on camera anymore. Like that fucking camera angle's gotten higher and higher on him. Has anyone noticed that? Like Slavin used to be like this. where you could kind of see him. You couldn't see the rest of his fat pig neck and disgusting ham-like body. And it's just now he's doing broadcasts, like he's doing courting like that. He's not even on the camera at all anymore. Like Slavin, just fucking fast for 30 days like me and get somewhat back to human proportions. Because it's really getting bad. It's getting embarrassing. You're not only not believing in this legal awful shit anymore after Josh came through there and got dismissed 4 out of 5 times. You don't even know why you're showing up to work anymore. And you're so self-conscious about how grotesque you are, you won't even appear on camera. Come on, man. That's no way to do court. Look at him. Just an empty, it's the bottom left corner is the administrator, and he's gone. You just hear him. You can't see him. Come on, man. It's not a good look.
Mr. Martin, Your Honor, I have a motion to make.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm making a motion to withdraw. I've had contact with Mr.
Should I
Martin
take
before on
lunch
other
early?
matters, and there's no attorney-client communication in this matter. We're talking about different things, and there's just no way of moving forward that I can adequately represent him, Your Honor. So I'm asking to withdraw.
All right, your motion to withdraw is granted. Mr. Martin, would you like a different court-appointed attorney?
Yeah, I guess so, since he shows his willingness not to want to do his job and help me out, and he's misstating, making false statements here, talking about there's a lack of communication. It certainly ain't on my part. I was pointing out to him relevant defenses. He just didn't want to do his job. That's clear what he made of me. So,
Mr. Martin, I have found Mr. Gizicki to be a very competent individual, a very competent attorney in many, many cases. I've seen many trials, hearings, motions, practicing in front of this court. And
this fucking guy is terrible at litigating for himself, by the way. I mean, I give him kudos for trying, but this guy, we've seen him, this Eric Martin guy, I think his name is, we've seen him many times. And he's terrible at like diplomacy. He's terrible at communications and just getting on the record. Like he's always insulting people. He's always challenging people. Like you don't do that. There's no need to. You just say, hey, appreciate the public pretender, but obviously you don't say that. You get see, then they'll go in and repeat that and say, I told him to do it on YouTube. I shouldn't even deviate. You know, you say, I appreciate the public defender, but I won't be needing it because he and I most likely don't align in our convictions and how we're going to present in this case. Done. Over. You don't say the guy's not competent. He's an asshole. He doesn't know what he's doing. This, that, and you're disparaging him. You're putting yourself in dishonor and bad faith now. They're like, no, that's you. That's not him. That's you. We've seen him slave all day, every day. We've used him many times. Chicago, Cleveland. The man comes through. You know, we're back to the old movie days. You don't call them out unless they're doing that. You don't call them out because they won't defend you or fend for you the way you can for yourself. You just make it clear that you don't align and you thank them for their time, energy, and attention and move forward. And then they can't slave you and make you look like a bad person because you're not being dishonorable in bad faith.
And I find him to
guy's
be very
constantly
competent.
belligerent
If
and
you make one
combative.
more negative comment about him, I'll hold you in contempt of court. I don't do that. We don't act like this isn't the Jerry Springer show. This isn't going to be a bunch of name calling. You're going to knock.
I understand, sir. You don't have to remind me of what I was there for. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to execute BSBT's orders. BSBT got 4 out of 5 dismissals because he did what I told him to do. Okay? He doesn't need Mr. Gizicki. Mr. Gizicki's job is to not execute orders of what he perceives to be sovereign citizens. You know this game. I'm not even claiming it's legitimate. You know the game by now and what they're doing. Just leave it alone. He doesn't have to do any of that. It's very simple. You send him on his way. He can take an early lunch. Slavin's waiting to go eat as well. Let's just be real about it. You know, stop wasting everybody's time, energy, and attention. Thank you, Mr. Gizicki. I'll see you later. I'm not going to need you. I'm going to move forward in this case, non-pro se, because I don't use their Latin garbage. I don't know pro se or any of the rest of that. Doesn't mean anything to me. I'll be standing for myself and putting the facts and matters on record, bearing witness and testimony. It doesn't require your presence. Thank you so much. Why are you giving orders to Mr. Gizicki to execute for you anyway, when you can just give correspondence to the court?
Knock it off. Knock it off, Mr. Martin. I'm done with everything you keep doing. All your little negative comments, things that you want to say about people. And you think you're the smartest person in the room and that you have some sort of special Juris Doctorate, I guess, from somewhere. I don't know.
Oh, and Slave told me.
You don't have the first clue when it comes to things. And you talk about that. And so Mr. Gizicki is saying that he's trying to talk to you about actual legal defenses. And you're trying to bring up some kind of other stuff. And so I'm going to grant his motion. Do you want, all I asked you was this. I didn't ask you to give me a commentary about Mr. Gizicki or what you think he can do, because I've always seen him to do his job every single time he does a file. What I want to know is, do you want another court-appointed attorney or are you representing yourself? That's it. It's a simple question. Answer simple questions. That's what you needed to start doing, is answering the questions.
Yep, one other attorney. But I want to state also that if it was recorded, it would support my allegations.
Boom, time out. Nope, not hearing it. The question is this. Do
What a
you
moron.
want another court-appointed attorney? So you're either going to say yes, court-appointed attorney, or represent yourself. What is your answer here today? Because there's only two possible answers here. You either get another attorney, or you can represent yourself if you'd like. Or if you want to hire your own attorney, you can do that. So there's three things. Are you going to get one appointed, yourself, or retained? Those are the three possible answer choices. What are you going with?
Yes, another appointed one, but without.
All right, there you go. Don't need any more commentary.
There you go.
Don't need any more commentary.
Complete nonsense.
You have a right to remain silent. You can exercise that right now. So we're going to appoint another court-appointed attorney to you.
And this is why this guy's going to get no respect. He's going to keep winding up in a box. They're going to keep spinning him in circles because he's acting like he wants to move forward and exercise his rights and practice the law, but he keeps taking one appointed attorney after the next. This guy's the kind of guy that gets the rest of us on those other channels to get a bad name. Now, it doesn't hold water because every individual's their own person. So they're going to be seen as their own beingness. But this is how the word gets out on dumb sovereign citizens who want to waste the court's time, energy, attention, and just drag shit out. Bro, go all the way or go away. If you're going to take the court-appointed attorney, shut the fuck up and let him do whatever he does. If you're not in alignment with what they're doing in the legal society, then move on your own and stop taking them. You can't fucking lukewarm, half-ass this and fence ride because they're not going to respect you, and it's probably going to wind up bad for you because you're wasting everybody's fucking time. The same thing I look at it as. I'm being completely straightforward. I see it the same way they do. You're being a bitch. You want to play games with them and try to practice law, but don't want to go all the way and take the liability. Well, then they're going to administrate your affairs and your property, and you can't say shit about it because he just asked you, do you want to present for yourself or you want to get another fucking court appointed? I guess give me another court appointed. Right. So you can fuck them off again and waste their time again instead of just coming with the goods or shutting up. Just makes no sense. And that's why this guy's constantly in jail. He never gets results. And he's always a laughing stock of every place they play him on. And he's belligerent and combative.
The individual who was here as your attorney during your trial, you seem to get along pretty well with him. You want me to reach out to see if he's available?
Well, I don't know who you're referring to.
The guy who was here at your trial. I don't know his last name.
Oh, he's on the other trial.
Yeah, the other trial, not this case. This is the misdemeanor domestic violence case. I'm talking about your driving on a suspended license case, restricted.
Well, I mean, he did for the most part. I don't say for the most part, maybe for the most part, but there's some things he didn't do neither. He didn't raise my right to travel defense. So
yes or no? Yes or no? Is he somebody that you think you can get you can communicate well with?
The legal society doesn't accept that you have a right to travel. They've redefined the words. They characterize it all as driving. You will never get someone from the legal society to turn on their society and to rewrite the definitions or to hearken back to other definitions. They have their definitions, their procedure, their product, their code of honor or dishonor, and they're going to move on that. You want to raise that? You do it under the common law. Don't fall under commercial jurisdiction and want an attorney to raise lawful arguments from a legal society perspective. It's never going to happen. Matter of fact, they're going to tell you you're a dunce and it's not going to work, even if it does work, because they can't acknowledge it. It's like it's their adversary in a sense. They're there to play the game to win, and they're not going to acknowledge their adversary. They don't even recognize it. And not only do they not recognize it, they're going to laugh at it. Ha ha ha! We don't recognize that, and you're stupid for even trying that. Because they want it to be that only their defenses and their society and their world exists. They're back to blood and cripping. It's the same. It doesn't matter how many times their boys got shot from the other side and took an L. Every time you ask them, they're going to say, them guys on the other side of town ain't shit. We don't recognize them. They don't mean nothing. They ain't nobody and they ain't nothing. That's the game.
Well, I guess we'll give him a try, I guess. Yeah.
Sure. All right. I'm going to appoint, reach out and see if we can see if he's available. So let's appoint.
But now, Slayton, I have some questions for you before we move forward.
All right. So we're going to set that. We're going to set that for a hearing date, and we'll see you then.
Hold on.
Mr. Gazicki, you are so released. I'm going to ask that the clerk reach out to the indigent defense group.
It's a nice way of saying the guy's poor and broke. And it's just never a coincidence that that's the sovereign citizen right there. The guy who wants a court-appointed attorney to argue rights under God, which is ridiculous. That's some sovereign citizen garbage. And it's not a coincidence the guy who's belligerent and combative makes no sense and is acting like a hoe beat up his bitch because he's in there for domestic violence. And I'm not saying that every time a man's charged with that, he did that, but I wouldn't put it past him. Just looking at him, I wouldn't put it past him. Maybe I'm being judgy, you know? But it's like a lot of this stuff tends to go together hand in hand, right? Do we go OG Percy Booty Warriors? Or what? Prison beatings, stabbings, chomos. That's the title. I don't know. It might be a bit too heavy for these white people. There's a lot of new people here. I don't want to scare them off with just black people hollering and talking about jail stories and booty bandits. Clapping cheeks. Might be a little bit too heavy for them. We got to ease them into that over the course of weeks and months. We don't want to go too crazy. Let's go a little bit of Karl Lentz because I'm coming up on 2 hours anyway. We already did a fair bit of views, and that's kind of my metric, like not only the time but the view situation. You know, we're in the algorithm, we got some traction, we got a motion going, and that feels good, right? It ain't everything by any means, because when we didn't, we still were. But yeah, if we hit the kind of the number goal, you know, and we coming up on the 2 hour mark, I'm traveling tomorrow anyway, so I got reason to want to kind of jet out of here, not early, but on time, instead of putting in extra time like I've been doing. You guys owe me for that, all right? I'm gonna be billing everybody. I got everybody's home addresses and everything else. I'm billing you for all the extra time I did this week. All right? So look for that. All right, let's go Karl Lentz for a little bit. I might do 20 minutes of him because I always think it's good information. He's got a good perspective. And what he puts forth seems to work. So yeah, we'll do a little bit of that. Who's the idiots, Terry? Let us in on it. Who are the idiots? Terry Fleming is down there. He or she is giving one word non-sentences. Idiots. Who are the idiots? I want to know. Who are these idiots? All right, a little bit of Karl Lentz. We'll wait for Terry Fleming to respond. And if not, then I'm out of here within 20 or so. Jennifer's on the way over, and she's bringing me homemade fried, non-fried rice. Pretty happy, man.
Pay out paper, man. I want to start selling my debt. And they go, no, my property was seized. I was like, okay, that's great. That means that you had all your lawful remedies, you know, you had all the lawful ways to try to remedy it. You had all kinds of procedures. You had your trial by jury. The jury rendered the verdict, or you had a guy in a black robe make a ruling on your behalf or against you, whatever. Great. Lovely. Seized is a beautiful word. Seized means that you afforded like all your rights, and you had, and so when anybody screams at that, well, no, they seized it. Oh, good. That's great. I'm glad they seized it, because that means that based upon some sort of legal procedure or lawful procedure, they did it according to the law. So you guys got to be careful, because this is one of these ugly words that you hear on TV, movies, or you hear on, you were trained when you were a kid in school, like, scream up and down and cries, it was seized. Seized is a nice word. Seized isn't the word that you guys are thinking, but stole, robbed, take, he did a take and carrying off, or he did he did an asportation, and that kind of stuff. Those are bad words, but seizure is a good word. That's what it is. It's called a caption and asportation. That's a good one. It's caption, like CAPTION, and asportation. That means they picked it up, captured it, and carried it off, and they absorbed it. They made it part of them. So it's called a caption and asportation. I actually used to write lawsuits like that. I used to actually use the word caption and asportation. It's kind of funny. Whipped out the old Roget's thesaurus, and I thought I was going to get the big boy gold star thing on my paper by saying they did a caption and asportation. So that goes absolutely nowhere. I just point my finger across the courtroom now, and they said they robbed me of property and demand the immediate return. I require for court of its immediate return, or the restoration of property. Something simple. You're taking a man to court. You're not taking IRS to court, because IRS is not a man. You could say you want that's why it's better to let the IRS take you to court. And it's funny, when the IRS takes you to court, the IRS doesn't take you to court, because they're just a contractor for the Treasury Department. So you haven't done anything to IRS wrong. The IRS just says to the United States of American government, they just say, hey, you know what, United States of America, you have a citizen, a member of your family. You got a little junior over here saying that he don't want to pay daddy what daddy wants him to pay. And so then they say, one of our citizens, one of a member of our family, Junior doesn't want to pay. No, Junior doesn't want to pay. Who is it? Well, let me look up his social security number and find out for you. Oh, it's this guy, Bob Smith. Oh, Bob Smith don't want to pay daddy? No, Bob Smith don't want to pay daddy. Okay, that's fine. And then Bob Smith gets invited into federal tax court by the United States of America. I've never seen anything from the IRS that say, IRS took me to court. Can somebody send me one damn, anything, the summons to appear in the United States court, or United States tax court, United States district court, where IRS is the plaintiff? No. So you keep saying, the IRS took me to court. No, they didn't. It's the United States of America. So you say, the IRS. Where on that damn paper do you see IRS? Every person's paper, like this guy, Greg Stottsville in Indiana, he kept saying the IRS is doing this, the IRS. Dude, the only thing I see on this court, all this indictment against you, is the United States of America. I don't see the word Internal Revenue Service anywhere in this inch-thick indictment. Where's the word IRS? I don't see it. So why do you guys keep saying the IRS is doing this to you? It's the United States of America is the plaintiff. So if somebody could send me something where it says IRS is the plaintiff and you're the defendant, let me know. Because I don't have a freaking clue what you guys are talking about. I've never seen where the IRS was the plaintiff. So I don't know what you guys are thinking. It's like when I look at a piece of paper, I take it literal. It says United States of America versus Greg Stottsville. It says, well, the IRS is coming after me. Really? And this piece of paper says United States of America. I don't see anything about the IRS. Well, the IRS investigator, she said this. I said, yeah, great, she said this, but how come the IRS isn't coming after you? Oh, yes, they are. Really? On here it says the United States of America is the plaintiff, and it says right here, Greg Stottsville, defendant. What are you talking about? You don't diminish it by using any ridiculous adjectives. So you folks have got to stop doing that a billion times. I tell you guys a billion times. You guys are going to keep doing it. You think it sounds more impressive when you say private property and property. So for some reason, it's redundant. You can't. Property means it's exclusive to you. And nobody else within the society is allowed to tell you what you can and cannot do with your property. Nobody has a right to tell you what to do or how to enjoy it. So why do you have to put the word private in front of it? That doesn't make any sense. Because to me, if it's public property, well, then that sounds retarded. How could it be public property? To me, it has to be public. You know, it would be like a public asset or a public domain or something tangible. But property is a standalone word. You can't mix it with public. It's like those folks say.
Oh, we got a slave on the hook.
You can't mix them.
We got a slave on the hook. Come on up here, slave. Come on up here, slave. You must be over from the cucked out Brits channel. Another loser failure from the 700 pack of losers I had to respond to in my comments. Come on up here. The link's down there. Repeat the lies that he told you. I knew the property owner's name, and so did she. When did we say in that video we didn't know the property owner's name? Did you infer that, or did you hear us say that? Would you like me to give them their name now? We asked them to give us the name because we didn't believe they contacted the owner. We didn't believe they knew the name of the property owner. We knew the name. She was in closing for that property. We showed the contract on air. Dummy. You guys are repeating lies in bad faith and bearing false witness on your fellow man. You're in judgment spiritually and criminally in this system. I could sue all of you for defamation, libel, and slander for repeating known lies because you know better, but you're not going to repeat the truth. I showed the contract that she had with the Hubbards to buy that property that money was down for. We were not squatting on that property. Stop lying on me and her's experience. And we did know the man's name. We asked them to repeat the name because we knew the name and didn't believe they talked to him. And those charges have since been dismissed. I put the case number on record yesterday because you slaves said I wouldn't do it. I did it months ago when it first happened, gave everybody the case numbers to go look it up. Even brought them up on here from Corazozo Court. You're lying, you're bad faith, you're dishonorable, and you're just like every other piece of garbage, fascist status slave cuck who comes out of that channel watching that coward over there lie on everybody and never show his fucking face and have to be accountable. So you better stop, because if you get my dander up anymore, I'm going to sue his bitch ass, and then he's going to have himself and you all to thank, because you keep coming on my videos making false claims, and I have to respond to all of them. I don't have to. I choose to. And there may come a point where I get tired of it. So you keep repeating known lies about me. You keep trying to disparage the record and bear false witness. I may decide to sue his bitch ass, because he's probably got a lot of loot, hundreds of thousands of views at a time, getting ad revenue and all the rest of it from YouTube. I may have to tap into that a little bit and use some of my legal lawful knowledge. So keep doing it. It ain't bothering me. You guys are just running the numbers up anyway. You're indirectly promoting me. That's why I'm not really mad about it. But if you want to keep repeating the lies, maybe we just hand out some liability for everybody. We go to the next level here. You want to test me? You want to play? I'm not the one. So you better go back and tell your boy, by the way, he's already late, because I gave him till 12 o'clock today to issue a public apology based on the facts of the matter, because I put the case number out. I showed the records. I showed the contract. I showed the body cam video and the rest of everything else, the video from her, rather. We got the body cam video, but it won't run on this machine, so I can't show it. I misspoke. And no, we didn't technically own the property in the sense of closing was a week or two away, whatever it was. We signed a document, had equity and interest in the property, and made an agreement to inspect. So we were not trespassing, and that's why that case was dismissed, and they're getting sued now. Okay? So you better get your fucking head out of your ass. You better stop repeating what known liars are uploading you all to repeat to be their power base, because you're all falsely empowered codependents. And if I drag any one of you bitch ass motherfuckers into any court in this land, you're going to be real sorry when you got to answer for your lies and your fraud and your grift. You're not going to be so cavalier and jovial when you got to answer for who and what you are and what you're doing, right? So you just better hope and pray that, as usual, I allow you all to lie on me and harass me and abuse me and just let it go by the wayside, because I practice patience and forgiveness. Forgive the slaves and the infidels. They know not what they do. But if you keep pushing me and you get me riled up enough to want to play again, like I always do, Paulie doesn't want to play till he wants to play. And when he starts playing, he don't stop. See? So I would think very carefully, you and Van Balion, you should have kept it to DeCastro. You should have kept it to the other grifters and frauds who don't know the law and don't have a will and aren't courageous and good faith and honorable and can talk. Because playing with this one, you're barking up the wrong tree. I'm telling you now. So go tell your buddy, give him the notice like I gave him. I'm sure it got back, and let him do the right thing. If he doesn't, they already gave me word of some other things. I'm not even going to get into it. Some other folks gave me some word already about some other things going on. If I were you, I'd get back to him and get with him and start doing the right thing and correct the record. If not, you get the judgment from God and potentially the judgment if I decide to move forward at court. Think about it.
Public property, that's retarded. Well, it's not. It's going. Well, retarded means you're going backwards. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you want to say public property? How could it be public and property at the same time? That's. Hey, let's put it this way: it's asinine. I'm not going to say retarded. It's just asinine. Makes absolutely no sense. It's like that old George Carlin routine, like military intelligence. How could it have word military and word intelligence attached to it at the same time? That's kind of like an oxymoron. How could that possibly be? Well, that's the same thing with public property and private property. There's no such. All it is it's property. Period. Private, that's ridiculous. It's just property. Public. How could it be public and exclusive to one man alone? That doesn't make any sense. So, like I said, it's just the way they trick folks to say, well, that's public property and this is private property. No, because that wouldn't make any sense at all. Private property, you're basically saying the same thing twice. That, hey, whoa, that's private. And then, whoa, that's property. It's basically the same word. Basically means the same thing. So it's like saying good, gooda. It's like that to me. To me, when I hear private property, it just sounds like somebody saying to me, oh, that's good, gooda. Oh, that's better, gooda. It's like, what? Better, good, what? Better, good. That doesn't make any sense. Good and gooda. On private property, that sounds like that. Once you, like I said, it's the people who listen to me enough times, they start catching on to what I'm saying, and they start picking up what I see. What I see just means what I understand. And that's exactly what see means. That's not what I visualize. It's what I see. So when I ask folks, hey,
Taco Joe and the other clowns who want to make false claims, click the link, get up here, put something on it, and dare me to show the paperwork. If you say I got no paperwork, I already did it. You can look up the broadcast when I did it. It's in the live feed. Just type in arrest Corazozo, find the lives where I showed that video, and the next one is me showing all the paperwork. And if you're claiming I didn't do it or I won't do it, get up here right now, show you're not a pack of cowards. I'll produce the contract right now, signed by both parties, and you're going to put something up for me to do it. So when you lose, I get to benefit. Stop wasting my time, energy, and attention. Put some fucking something where your mouth is that you can lose when you're wrong, and I will prove you to be wrong right here, right now, like I already did months ago when I showed everything. I don't owe you anything. And if you keep chirping down there, I'm going to throw you the fuck out. You can suck my dick, watch, wait, and hate, but not type, right? And you can follow me around, watch what I do, get entertained by me, maybe even learn something, but you won't have the privilege and the benefit to have your false claims be seen and heard, right? So put your money and your ass where your mouth is. Get the fuck up here. Tell me I won't show the contract with me and Jennifer for that property. Let me prove you wrong, and then give something up. Bet on it if you're so confident that I was squatting and I'm this, that, and the third, and I'm a criminal lowlife. We weren't going to pay for the property. We just brought a hose there. We're squatting on property and think anything was going to happen, right? Yeah, because we're real stupid like that. Because we want to go to jail. Because we're broke, right? All the things you want to project. Put your fucking money where your mouth is. Stand on something, or you're a bunch of lying punk cowards. I don't have to prove anything to you. I've shown it over and over again. Just like I showed the dismissals and the lawsuit that I'm all doing on my own. While you loser failures watch, wait, and hate on a motherfucker you could only hope to be like at some point. Are you kidding? Thank you for playing. Thank you for being here.
See?
We love you.
What I'm saying?
We love our hater hoes here.
See, this has nothing to do with visual. A blind man can see. There's nothing to do. I'm not being cute. I'm not saying a blind man can see better than most people with sight. See means to understand. See doesn't mean what you folks are thinking, like, oh, that means some sort of visual skill. No, it doesn't. So like I said, you guys are just getting confused by a really sloppy English grammar, an upbringing or definition of the words that they're just saying, oh, you know what, just let them use it. It's close enough. It's like, no, it's not close enough. When you go to court, it better be spot on, because if you ain't spot on, they're going to run you over like a freight train. It's just like if like I said, if you're talking to somebody and you're talking to a child and the child gets the word wrong, everybody just laughs at them. It's like, what's so funny, Dad? I say, I'll explain to you something. You don't say that. What? You don't say that. I'll explain to you when we get home. Well, that's what's happening when you go to court. If you say that's private property, somebody like me will just laugh at you. A judge will just laugh at you. It's like, oh, yeah, oh, private property. Oh, I see. No government ever created a baby, so they can't possibly say they have a vested interest in it. That's ridiculous. They weren't in bed with you, They can't make a claim.
Wow.
It's
Yeah,
that
I've
simple.
never been violated before, so violated ever before in my life. Do you
Well,
teach the UCC process or no? I know you're making it very simple, and I'm like astounded. But do you suggest the UCC process when you claim your property, or?
That's
or
ridiculous.
no?
Because that's somebody else's beliefs you're using, not yours. You believe that's your property. You have no idea what the UCC says because you did not create it. See, I could definitely tell you never listen to my show because, like I say to folks, you can't interpret somebody else's words. You have to make your words your own. So when the judge sees your words, he knows those are your words and your words alone. If you use UCC or anything, he's going to say, oh, you're using somebody else's beliefs. That's not what you believe. That's what somebody else believes. Somebody else believes this. No, the judge wants to hear what you believe. Not what Mr. UCC, who wrote UCC 50 years ago, has to say. He doesn't give a, well, honestly, he'd actually rather have you speak UCC. That way he can interpret it because he's got a license to interpret it. You don't have a license to interpret it. You don't even have a license to write it down, to write UCC. It's like theft of intellectual property. It's like using Microsoft software to create your own documents. You can't use UCC. You have no permission to use their stuff. So who do you think you are to use UCC stuff? Are you licensed UCC decipher code and specialist? No. So that's ridiculous to use somebody else's beliefs.
Okay. So
You gotta tell what you believe. You just I believe you're holding my property. I believe the only reason why government exists is to secure and protect property. Thank you for holding my property. Now I require you to release my property back into my car. Have a nice day.
And it doesn't matter what kind of hearing it's going to be. It doesn't matter what kind of hearing I'm going for. Because you know how they try to block you with all the California rules of this and rules of court and that?
Nope, because you have nothing to do with Cal. You didn't write the rules. They didn't write the rules. They're just interpreting the rules. They can't swear that any of those rules are true. If they say, well, according to the California, let's just make this for shits and giggles. Let's say some attorney wise guy on the other side says, well, according to the California rules, just like you said, 1, 2, 3, section 5 comes and says, well, according to the California rules, civil rules, family rules, 1, 2, 3, section 5. It's like, oh yeah, you want to take the witness stand and swear to that's what that code means? He'll be like, well, no. Well, then that's just your opinion what you think that code means. Did you write that code? No. Do you have the man here who wrote the code? No. You have the public law. Because the code was written out of a public law. Do you have the public law before the court? He's like, well, no, it's rolled up in Sacramento somewhere. It's like, okay, so you don't have the public law where the code came from. You don't have the guy who wrote the code, and you won't swear that this is exactly what the code means. You're just giving your opinion of what the code means. So isn't this just lovely? You have an opinion. Isn't that lovely?
I was going to demand his, I think I might get his oath. He's not a real judge.
No, you don't. None of them are real judges in family court. No hearing administrating officers. It's a contract. Did you sign some sort of a contract with the state, like called a safety plan?
Yeah, but then I rescinded it. I wrote on it, I do not agree, because they were using threat, duress, and coercion, right? So I wrote down that I do not agree, and then I rescinded the contract, and then I filed that, the rescission.
Yeah, you made a notice of rescission, right?
Yeah.
That's great. Now, where is that thing? Where did you file it?
Oh, I filed it a long time ago. It's still, I have it.
So since you filed it a long time ago, did you move on it?
Did I move with it?
On it? Did you say, okay, here's my notice, and did you follow it up with a second notice just in case they didn't get the first one?
No.
That's what you're supposed to do, just in case the mailman exploded somewhere and you got no proof that it was delivered to anybody. You always have to. Nobody answered you yet. You're saying.
Okay.
Nobody answered it. So, like I said, if you want to send me that rescission thing, that's lovely. You could send me one because I just wrote one for somebody about 2-3 weeks ago. So if you want to send me your notice of rescission, that's just lovely. And I'll take a look at it and I'll probably just laugh and say, look, ma'am, all you got to do is this. You're writing way too much.
Oh my God. This is crazy. I have to give thanks. I really had no idea that it was just easy.
Yeah, it's beyond simple, man.
Yeah.
And that's the whole problem. Yeah, that's the whole problem.
Yeah,
They don't make any. If they don't make any money if it's simple, ma'am. They try to make you guys think it's complicated so they could charge you all kinds of money. Believe me, me and my wife went through 17 attorneys. She bought 8, I bought 9.
Oh my God.
It cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's why I said, you know what, I'm getting nowhere spending money till it's coming out, and this is ridiculous, and I'm going to learn my own. I'm going to figure this out, and I figured it out. And nobody else has to spend any of that kind of ridiculous money anymore. Just make your claim for your property to be restored, and you're done.
Yeah, it's ridiculous to sit here and have to write for your flesh and blood. That's just ridiculous. It's just, late slavery.
It's your property.
To have
But like
to write for your flesh and blood. It's just ridiculous.
Right, but that's what happens is a lot of times these folks, it's called the Communist Manifesto, and it says that the state owns all the property. So that's what they're trying to do in this country. They're trying to say the state owns all the property. So you do it by getting into contracts, which you did because you signed a safety plan which bound you to the state. But like I said, you said to the state that you will let the state come in your house and inspect your kids and do also the nonsense.
Well, they really had me thinking that it was because I was looking into a housing program. And that's why they had me thinking it was really for housing. Yep. And it really was more to, they were just investigating me. I couldn't believe that they were really investigating me because I was seeing myself as a great mother. I don't have a drug problem. I don't have, any other problems abusing my child. I just raised my son unconventionally, and I don't inoculate him, and I don't give him drugs.
But that happened back in 1997 with Bill Clinton actually did that in Congress. What they did is anybody who was on welfare, they let them live on welfare for 23 months, and on the 24th month, they took their kids instantly, whether you're the world's greatest mom or not, because you only had 23 months. You had 2 years to get back on your feet. And if you couldn't get back on your feet, they automatically took the kid on the 23rd month. So stuff like that was happening like crazy. So a lot of women who were just welfare moms and living in Section 8 housing, they thought they were great. Like, hey, I'm taking care of the kid. I got welfare. I got food. I got everything for this freaking kid. Everything's nice and, quiet here. Boom. 23 months after collecting the first check, they come knocking on the door. And they say, hey, you have a job? No. Why not? Well, your benefits are going to run out in 30 days, so we're going to take the kids, and you can come and make a claim for the kid once you show us that you have a job. And boom. And then the kids are gone. I've seen hundreds of women, they do that too, on welfare. Any kind of Section 8 housing women, they do that too. They give you guys a couple of months to get on your feet, boom, and then they come and take the kid.
Wow.
It's not like it used to be. It used to be you could stay on welfare until the kid hit 18. Not anymore. You got 2 years. Well, you got 23 months to collect the check. And then after that, boom, they scoop up your kid. I don't care if you're the world's greatest mom. They did that in 1997. It was the HIPAA law. They did that back in 1997. They passed it with the HIPAA law. Yeah, everybody thought it was a wonderful thing, protecting women and children. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. And then all the women realized what happened on the 23rd month. The government was coming in and swooping, taking all the kids.
Yeah, and so many children are getting molested in foster homes.
Oh, yeah, all of that stuff. That's just part of it. That's right. But like I said, the big thing is that you sign the contract, you ask the state for benefits or help, and the next thing you know, they bite in the ass. I know. I heard it all, man. I've seen it all. I've heard it all. I'm 50 years old. I might not sound 50, I hope, but I've seen it all. I've seen all the women in Birmingham, Alabama, all crying, who are on welfare, thinking that they want to stay on welfare until the kid was 18. And little did they know, the law changed in 1997. They could only get 2 years of benefits, and then the state takes their kids.
Whoa, that is deep. And so this is in Alabama.
Yep. Well, no, that's a federal. It's a federal law.
It's a federal law.
You got 2 years. Anytime you women have a baby, you got 23 months to get a house, to get a husband, to get something going on, because at the 23rd month, they're going to come knock on your Section 8 housing door, and they're going to take your kid. And then you got to jump through all the hoops to try to get your kid back. You got to have a good job. You have to have a car. You have to have a 2-bedroom apartment, one for you, one for the kid. Oh, it's ridiculous. And then once you get all that stuff, then you could reapply for welfare. And then you got another 23 months.
Do you think I should demand the judge's oath of office, or bring it to the court, his oath of office? Do you think, and bind him to the Constitution?
Nope, because you didn't write the Constitution. Nope. Are you going to bring James Madison or Thomas Jefferson, or are you going to bring Alexander Hamilton to the court? No. Then how do you know what the Constitution reads? You're just guessing. Are you going to be able to bring the person who, the Constitution is a contract that binds the state to the federal government, the United States government to the state governments. It has nothing to do with you. You're a man. You're a woman. You're not a state, and you're not the United States government. The Constitution has absolutely nothing to do with you. That's why when they wrote the Bill of Rights, half the people there are like, what do you mean Bill of Rights? Why do we have to write a Bill of Rights for? Bill of Rights has to do with man. We're just trying to set up the state governments and the federal and the United States government. We're not making any rules for man. Man has its own contracts going on. This is only a contract between the state governments and the United States federal governments. It has nothing to do with man. So why are you bringing up the Constitution unless you're a state or unless you're the United States government? The Constitution is a waste of time. Plus, you can't bring the guy who created the damn document and says, is that what that reads? Is that what you think it means? Well, did you write it? No. Well, then who wrote it? I don't know. He wrote it. Well, then is he here? No. Well, then your guess is as good as mine on what the hell it means. What the hell do I know? I wasn't there. Maybe it's a typo. I don't have a clue. No, the Constitution is all a waste of time, man. All that silly stuff is all a waste of time. It's just stuff to just make you guys waste your time and chase your tails around in circles. It's just a total waste of time. The government only exists to secure and protect the rights of man. That's all they do, secure and protect property. Well, rights is a subset of property. All your rights are your property. That's all your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, your goals, your child, that's all your property. And rights are one of your properties. But property is the huge word, not rights, property. Rights are just a subset to what you can call property. This is one I did for family services, folks. I just wrote, I, a woman, Belinda Painter, claimed that there exists a contract, also known as a safety plan, between the parties of Belinda Painter and Harrisburg Social Services Department, see Exhibit A. You see how simple I made it? I, a woman, claimed that there exists. She believes that there is a contract. Okay? So what she's saying is like, yes, it's true. There is a contract between me and CPS, see Exhibit A. But then she says, I declare henceforth from this day, in October 2013, the world is to take notice that said contract, 1, provides no benefit to neither I nor my person and is a causal source of harm. 2, it lacks the capacity to compel performance from I or my person. And 3, it lacks the power to force I or my person to be bound to perform under any and all of its terms and conditions. And then the last paragraph was, herein let it be known that if there be any man or woman who wishes to make his or her claim known that said contract has capacity to bind I or my person, let them come forth now with a verifiable claim and deny said notice or forever hold their peace. There you go. There you go. That's the notice of rescission. Just that simple. All you're saying, yes, there is a contract between me and you. That's true. But at this time, at one time, I believe there was a benefit for entering into this agreement with you. But now, 1, I don't see any more benefit. 2, 2 is there is nobody on this planet Earth that can force or compel me to perform under this contract, and nobody can bind me to it. And that was number 3. That's it. If somebody believes they can bind me to it, let him make his presence known in court. If somebody believes I could be ordered to perform under it, let him come forth and make his claim. See, CPS ain't going to make a claim. The state attorney can't force you to compel anything from you. Not when you're a woman, not when you're a man. They can't. They can't do it. They're the public servant. You're the public. They can't force the master to serve them.
In an example, I came across with somebody where the council want to do, I don't know what the correct word is, but I call it repossess. But basically, the guy has a small farm, and the local council said they need, I don't know if you know what gypsies are and stuff, I don't know what the equivalent in America is. You know, people that move around, and they live in kind of nomadic existence, Romany gypsies. And basically, the council said that part of their plan and strategy was to get 3 sites across the county that these people could go to, and they identified his land as a possible site. And I thought, well, hang on, looking back at that and what you do, then does the state, can they repossess his property? Because it's his property. So who has any, nobody else has any rights over that. Is it the same for that then?
Are you talking about like migrant workers or like gypsies who just come and do the picking of the fruit and then move on?
No. They basically move around and they annoy the council because they move on to nice areas or public areas. And what they want to do is, for a strategy as part of their framework, is that they pick 3 sites. So when these people move around, they can only go to these so-called licensed designated sites.
That's right. You guys got something called commons. You folks have something called common ground over there, commons.
Yeah, but
we don't.
Right. This is not really common land. So I don't know. The council owns it, and they'll turn up in a car park somewhere, and they'll sit there for 2-3 weeks, and then they'll go, and then they'll turn up on somebody's private land for a few weeks until they get letters from the courts and stuff, and then they go. So basically, they're avoiding paying rent, but they just keep moving around, enjoying the view, basically.
What are they enjoying? They're enjoying the view?
Yeah, well, either way, they generally they move into kind of rural, kind of scenic green areas, and then they just live there for a while, help out and do some work or other probably negative things as well, some good, some bad, and then they move on. So they're always compare them to like an older nomadic experience people.
But they do have that here in the States. The feds, like the federal parks, the federal land. I'm trying to remember when I did that. There were millions of us that did this out in Nevada. When Las Vegas turned into a boom town back in the early 1990s, there just wasn't any hotel rooms. There wasn't enough apartments for us. You know, we went there like locusts, and everybody wanted to help the city boom. So we all stayed out on federal land. And all the park rangers, the federal rangers would come around, and they'd just make sure that you weren't putting up an edifice that was anchored into the ground. They said, as long as you can move it from point A, they said, as long as you can move it 1 inch every 30 days, you could stay here for the rest of your life. But you have to be able to move it at least 1 inch. That's the law here in this land in the United States. Now, what it is over in England, what you guys call commons and common ground, and everybody has the right to enjoy it, even if it is private property like that. Technically, the land is the queen, is part of the crown. You own everything above the ground, but technically, in England, you can't own ground. You can own everything 1 millimeter above the ground, but technically, the ground is the people. The people in the land are the ground. You can't own people. It's slavery. You can't do it. So when you heard that old King Arthur movie, you hear King Arthur, you hear Merlin say to King Arthur, "You and the land are one, King, Arthur." What does that mean? And that's why I say to you folks, what do you think it means? It doesn't mean that he's the dirt. It means him and the people come from the land. So they're all one. The king, the people, the land, the dirt, you're all one. That's where you came from. Whether you want to believe it or not, your mommy had to eat something from the ground. Your mommy had to eat from the dirt. Your mommy had to eat what came from the earth. Whether you like it or not, that's where you came from, and that's where you're going to return. Whether you want to believe it or not, you are of the land. Whether you want to believe it or not, you're not a Martian. You didn't fall off a moonbeam. You know, you are part of the land. So for you to say I own land is like, I own people, because land and people one. Can you own people? Well, no. But can you own what you create on top of the land? Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
But can you own the land? No. So that's all I'm trying to say. This is where that question you came from. This is what I believe, that the belief is why they're allowed to do what they do. The people who thought of this 100, 200, 1,000 years ago, this is what they were. What I'm just told you is what was in their mind. Who the hell is anybody to tell anybody what they can and cannot do with land? We're all of the land. I don't care if you're Donald Trump. I don't care if you're Donald Trump. I don't care if you're Queen.
Property then.
You came from land. No, property. No, property is exclusive to a man or a woman. Property is not land. You can't use, it's not the same word. See, that's what you should tell people. When you talk to somebody like me, how you know it's not the same word? It's not spelt the same. There you go. It's usually that's silly and that's stupid. Is land and property the same? Let me see. I spelled one with an L and one with a P. No. Does it mean the same? No.
If it did, it would just be one word.
Because it'd be the same effing word. So, you know, like I said, I'm one of these people that, you know, like I said, if you couldn't, what is it, like a Roger, you know, the thesaurus, I'd be horrible at it. No, I say something, that's what it means, and it means nothing else. And that's what that word means, and that's what it means, and it doesn't mean anything else. So all this thesaurus nonsense, this Roger nonsense is nonsense, because it's just going to confuse the crap out of you. When you try to put this word for that word, when you go to court, you're going to look like a moron. It's like, that's not what that word means. When you go to a court, the law is black and white. The law is deadly. You've always heard that. The law is black and white. There's no color in the law. Law is life or death. You know, legalese is, well, let's be reasonable. Let's be colorful about this. Let's use our imaginations here. Let's make believe that this could really be this, and maybe that could really be that. No. It's either yes or no. That's all I want to hear. And that's law. Legalese is like, well, you know, no, none of the lawyers, none of us could testify to anything being true. None of us want to take the witness stand. None of us want to be held liable. So let's be reasonable about this, and let's just play games, and let's just guess what it means. Like, look, dude, I'm not here to play games. I'm not here to guess effing anything. Yes or no. That's all I want to hear coming out of your mouth. Yes or no. And that's all I ever hear from lawyers. They say, well, let's be reasonable about this, Mr. Lentz. So like I said, I'm telling you, when you hear somebody from the government say to you, because you will hear this, especially when you try to cramming the law down their throat, they'll say, well, let's be reasonable about this, Mr. Bali. It's like, yeah, reasonable. Yeah, you're a lawyer. That's right. This guy Karl warned me about you. I'm telling you, man.
So for this friend of, well, he's a friend of a friend, because he's got land and it's not property, then how can is it? So it's not really possible to own land.
It's
so
real
when
estate.
Somebody orders you that they want that land back.
It's
this is
real
like
estate.
a nonsense conversation.
Right. It's not property. It'd be like real estate. It would be an edifice. It would be a tangible asset. It would be a possession. It's not property. You can't get sloppy. Let me put it that way. You've been raised that you could be sloppy and get away with it. Because even Barack Obama said this at 8:18 a.m. He said it on October 17th. He said, let's work together to make the government work better instead of treating it like an enemy or making it worse, period. That's not what the founders of this nation envisioned when they gave us the gift of self-government, period. So even Barack Obama acknowledges that the greatest gift our great-great-great-grandfathers gave us was the right to self-govern. That was so fucking powerful. It's the first time in my lifetime, I've been on a planet Earth 50 times around the sun now, that I ever seen a president admit that, or his speechwriters admit it, that this is a nation of self-government. No democracy, no republic. This is self-government. The nation is the people. The nation is not the United States government. The nation is a group of people, not a group of state agents or federal agents or United States government agents. The nation means the people. The people are self-governing. They don't need the United States government. They don't need a state government. They are self-governing. This is the great experiment of the self-governing. That's what you are. Now, if you wish to be a citizen,
that would be sovereign?
No. Sovereign means that you could defy law, that you could create your own law, which means gravity does not exist on planet Earth. When you fall down, you actually float up if you wish, because a sovereign is not bound by any law, including gravity, including the law of time or death. You could take a bullet to your head and you're going to be fine. Why? Because you defy all laws. That's what God can do. God is the only true sovereign. There is no law that binds him. He can do whatever he wishes. At this point, in the third dimension, I can't. In the fourth dimension, when I go to sleep, oh yeah, sure, I could float. Oh sure, I could take a bullet in my head and keep coming after the bad guy. But that's not in the third dimension. In the fourth dimension, I'm a sovereign. You better believe it. I kick ass in the fourth dimension. All monsters better back off quick. I'm going to kick their ass. But in this dimension, no, I'm bound by law. Law of gravity, law of relativity, law of time, law of physics. I'm bound by all kinds of laws. I'm not sovereign, not by a long shot. Not in this dimension, not in the third dimension. But you see what I'm trying to say? The speechwriter finally admitted it. Finally. And right there, to me, is, hey, this government is wide open. This government is telling you folks the truth. This United States government is not bullshitting you. They are putting it right out there. Now, if you want to understand what the United States government is trying to tell the people that controls it, God bless you. If you don't, they put it right out there. They gave you full disclosure. Full disclosure. I mean, if that sentence wasn't beyond powerful, I said, oh my God. I was listening to BBC or NPR, you know, one of those Fruit Loop liberal, you know, Joe Dandy, whatever, radio station, limberist radio stations, because I like to hear what the other side's got to say. Educational, right. That's the thing. National broadcast, national educational.
Oh, NPR.
Right. Yeah, that's what we get up here in the mountains. We only get NPR.
Oh.
We get Sesame Street, and that's all we get. We get that kind of nonsense. But what's great, it lets me hear what the other side's got to say.
Right.
I'm telling you, at 8 o'clock in the morning, at 8:18 on October 17th, that man uttered it, and I heard it on an effing radio. And it's like, my God, full disclosure. He is telling you what is true. He is not bullshitting you. There is no Obamacare. There is no Social Security. There is no IRS. There is no. He told you. He told you. It came right out of his mouth. His speechwriters put it in front of a cue card, and he told you the truth. Now, if you people want to keep believing all this other crap, well, you go and do it. He flat out tells you, it's all on you, baby. It's all on you. Now, if you want to believe him, believe him. Because I was beating my head through a wall trying to convince you people that this is the land of the self-governing. But he's like, Carl's Looney Tune. Oh, Carl's all Fruity Loop Tubes. Oh, Carl's insane. Carl's crazy. This is a democracy. This is a republic democracy. Oh, this is a mafia, whatever. No, it ain't. It's the land of the self-governing. Yes, we are. That's the greatest gift our grandfathers killed and died for, that we have the right to go from point A to point B, and nobody can get in our way. It's that simple. There is nothing else. That's it. That's it. That's all your grandpappy told you. What were you doing? Playing Nintendo? Where were you when your grandpappy told you that? Well, I guess I was kind of busy smoking dope and driving my 57 Chevy. Yeah, well, maybe you should have listened to your grandpappy every now and then. He was trying to tell you. And that's all I'm trying to tell you, folks. You guys are just missing this. It's simple. I was taught very simply. My dad couldn't read or write English. There you go. That really helped me a lot. Because he wasn't bamboozled by a lot of bullshit. He just had to know what worked for him off the top of his head. He couldn't rely upon a book. He couldn't rely upon anything he read. He had to go out there and experiment and live his life and say, hey, dude, this is what I see out here in the streets. This is what works and this is what don't work. Thank God he was in a reform school almost his whole entire life. After his dad went back to Germany after World War II, he was left in the New York City streets. He was a tough little bastard. So thank God, man, that I got taught street smart from him. And my mom was a straight A high school student from Old Dominion in New York City, all business Catholic girls' school. And she finished at the top of her class. She won 6 out of 10 awards for her graduating class. And she was beautiful. She looks like freaking Elizabeth Taylor in her yearbook. She was gorgeous. She's got that blue eye. She's got the black hair. She was gorgeous. I got a good gene fucking pool I got from. But like I said, thank God I got a bookworm mom who worked for the IRS for 30 years, and I got a street punk dad who's a Navy guy. I mean, what a combination. So I got the street smarts from him, and I got the book from her, and I just was able to put the two together and said, hey, you know what? That's way too complicated what she's doing. And hey, you know what? You don't got to keep it in the gutter. Let's get it out. And I'm just mixing the two together and said, here you go. Here's the combination of the two. Simplicity mixed with pure logic. There you go, folks. And I put it together.
You're talking about self-governance. You think it's still like that today?
Absolutely. All my paperwork is self-governing. Every time the judge reads it, they laugh their ass off. They go, yes, sir. Not a problem. And the prosecuting attorneys don't know what the fuck to do because I'm putting them right in their place. Are you trying to tell me, one of the self-governing, are you trying to govern me? I'm self-governing. Is that what you're trying to do? Are you trying to tell me what to do? If you are, I'll be glad to accept your order. But believe me, you're going to compensate me once I carry out your order. And I want money as a form of compensation. But I will carry out another man's order. But I'm not carrying out a public servant's order. No. I'm carrying out another man's order. You want to order me as a man? Man on man? You're going to order me? Do it. I'll carry out your order. You're going to compensate me. Here's the bill. But if you think I'm going to kiss a public servant's ass and you don't think I'm self-governing and you think you're going to govern me, you're going to force me to be governed and directed and steered by your crazy beliefs and your crazy codes, and you think I'm going to worship under you? You think I'm going to petition you? Because that's what petition means. It means that you are inferior and you are praying or begging for mercy to a superior.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't petition shit.
You hear that, Cameron? Power inherent in the people. This is what I mean. Better get right. Stop petitioning these people. Tell them what the fuck you're going to do and not do, and then what's going to happen if they don't uphold your rights and protect your property. All right, I'm going to leave it there for now. I'm out of here. Back tomorrow, sometime around 4 to 6, I would say. I'm going to be on the road, as I told you folks. Yeah, I think we're good to go. What do we got on the way out? Paul Undebatable, starring a fan non-favorite, Mr. Slow State, a.k.a. Taylor. Say goodnight to the bad guy. It's not about an uprising. You're not getting it. There's no uprising. I'm way quieter there than I am here. I'm not dealing with a bunch of incompetent, incapable infidels. They're just corrupt. And they know who to be corrupt with and who not. I'm passionate about the truth. I'm confident in my knowledge of self, if nothing else, and my ability to convey that. Full stop. Nothing before or after. I'm not interested in what legal and illegal is. I'm not a member of the legal society. I'm not even a member of the law society. There's two of them for a reason. I uphold the law. I'm not interested in legal policy and code. You don't know what you need to know about legal and lawful common law, and just by speaking, you get yourself wrapped up in their jurisdiction. The common law is still the foundational law of the land, and it's based on universal law, and it's codified in the contract you call the Constitution, and enumerated, delineated into 2 jurisdictions, protected class and privileged class, private and public. That's all I need to know. I'm a very simple man. You swear in a Bible at court for a reason. That must mean the original law is within that Bible. So if you can interpret that original law properly and convey it properly with the proper countenance, you will be free from latches, vice, and bondage, as the word indicates. I'm not going to sit here undoing you from your worldly left brain, mind, and heart control because you don't understand the right brain intuitive concepts of life. You don't understand the metaphysical concepts of life. You don't understand the ideologies and philosophies that are the precepts of this
system. I'll go back to the Tao before courts ever existed. A man's own thoughts unguarded are his own worst enemy until conquered. Then a man's own thoughts are his best friend, can help him more than even his own mother and father can. All you understand is worldly power, value, and systems. You don't understand the inherent hierarchical power and value systems that give way to everything that we see and experience here. You're lost, broken, confused, projecting onto me, and I'm having to be your daddy to explain how the universe and its laws work, and you're not even paying me, nor are you thanking me. You're hating on me while asking me to do it. It's bizarre. Yes, the words mean something, and the position means something, and the status means something, and you just don't get how it all comes together and how it works.
I do, though.
You don't. And that's where we're going to let it lie. You claim you do. I claim you don't. I'm laying out my understanding. You're not laying out yours beyond what they've told you. And we're going to let it lie there, and the people can make up their mind like they always do.
Do you want me to lay mine out? I will.
Sure, go ahead. I'm sure I've never heard it before.
No, I can see. That's why it doesn't, nobody's helped by, I know how being a defendant is, and I know that there's a difference between law on the books that the guys with guns hold you to, and philosophy. You are accountable to them, because if not, they'll just come with guns and get you.
So the fact that you don't understand what that means, yet that is the window into how this all works, is really not my problem. I can't understand it for you. And for you to sit here, go ahead, waste our time, energy, attention telling me how you think it works based on what you see, when we already know you're the type of person who looks and does not see. There's an etymological sound understanding that is spoken about. The origination is common lore, because all of law and philosophy is passed down orally, not the way you would want it to be, spoken, okay? And through that understanding, we get courts and codifications and legislation. So you might want to do another 5 years at least, another couple thousand hours of study on the origination of law and lore, how it all comes down through the matrix system that we experience on the lowest, most worldly, earthly level, and really put the pieces together about how this all came about. I'm telling you simply, I have a conviction in my heart. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. Come get me and do your worst. What don't you get about that? What don't you get about that on the lowest level as a man? What don't you get about that on the lowest level as a man? I'm going to do and say whatever the fuck I want, and the devil can be damned to come and stop me.
Disgusting. There's a lot of people.
What don't you get about it? What don't you get about it?
Why you're free.
Right, because you're a hater. You just admitted it subconsciously. Why is he free? Why isn't he in prison yet? You better go to God with that, or the devil. Stay the fuck away from me and stop projecting onto me, because it's not going to end well for you.
God damn it.
You can take your leave. I don't care if you ever come back here. Because I'm done with you. I've been done with you for the longest time. You can't stand that I'm done with you. And the fact that I'm done with you and that they haven't done me in yet eats at your ego, along with many other things I do that you can't do or won't do, because you're a fucking poor, broke, loser, low consciousness coward. So keep trying to do the equivocations with me and equalizations with me and power struggles and competitions. It goes nowhere for you. All you did was give me more fucking content. Thank you. There is no hate I have for you as a being in my heart. I don't like what you do, and I don't have to. You're a worldly infidel who lacks faith. You're bad faith, and you're dishonor. Worse than that, you're fucking stupid.
Disgusting.